Okay, we're live. We are going magnetic conversations for network marketers because every seven-figure earner masters one thing, and that's influence. So all of you boys and girls are here because you want to be as influential as you can possibly be. And I know that some of you are already pros. You're already experts. You already have a lot of experience in network marketing. You're already very, very good at what you do. But I can tell you, after what I would consider significant success, when your team earns $100 million in commissions, I consider that pretty successful. And when you collectively have, like Cynthia and I, 30 plus years in network marketing with that kind of track record of financial success, I would consider that pretty successful. But here's the thing, you guys, we haven't mastered everything. We are learning every day. We never stop learning. We're always working towards getting better and better. And I think some of you, like, raise your hand if you've ever done a three-way call with Cynthia, or you've heard her do a three-way call. Fire, right? Like, unbelievable. Like, you hang up the phone. I listen to her do three-way calls, and she hangs up the phone, and I go, oh my gosh, like, that was unbelievable. That was fire. I wish I could remember all the things that she said so that I could say them next time as well. But here's the thing, you guys, it's not about memorizing what someone else does. It's about crafting and learning a skill so that so you can be yourself and you can repeat those same types of strategies without sounding like someone else. Like, I can't sound like Cynthia. I'll never sound like Cynthia. I'm not going to be Cynthia. I'm not even going to try, because that would be insanity, number one. And number two, I think the people that know me would think I was weird if I sounded like Cynthia, right? So I'm going to be myself. I'm going to come across authentic, and I'm just going to work on skills. So one of the things you're going to hear me repeat some things during this master class over and over. And when I repeat them, that means it's really important and I want it to sink in. And here's one of those things I want you to make a note right now. Go ahead and make a note. This masterclass, including this ebook, which is going to be your guide going forward, is not about memorizing scripts. There's 100 questions in here in six different categories of questions, but none of them are meant to be memorized. What you're meant to do is look at these examples, pull from them what fits you, what fits your personality, and learn the strategies of it. Learn the human psychology, learn why people do the things that they do. Why do people say yes? Why do people say no? When they give you a goofy response to something that you've shared with them, interpreting what they're actually really saying to you. What does that message really mean? So when you start figuring out the human psychology side of this business, you're going to win. Cynthia and I have said it, babe. Tell them. I'm telling you, we've always said in network marketing, once we got 2 or 3 years under our belt, we're like, oh my gosh, here's the deal with network marketing. Master human psychology and you win. Drop the mic. Right, babe?
Absolutely. In fact, as we've been evaluating, as we've been evaluating since December, November or December, a course that's upper level for everybody to up their game and truly hit the high levels of success in network marketing. We started at the very beginning, our entry point. Why? How did we feel? What were our first steps? And how did we proceed? And how did we recorrect? One of the things for Bill and I that I felt was an absolute superpower was this: magnetic conversations. Bill had been through courses, through business. Being a vice president of a company required him to engage with things that needed an upper level conversation, and he had really fine tuned his skill set coming into network marketing to a large degree. For me, I was never a public speaker. I didn't want to be. I was good at conversations with friends and family, but I had really never evaluated my conversation from a business perspective. Now, I've been a businesswoman since I was 16 years old. So I've had design businesses and storefronts, and I've had over a dozen employees in one business. And that required certain conversation or conversational type skills. Coming into network marketing, I think part of our superpower was the fact that we were truly over the top excited about the opportunity that we had to create a bigger and a better life for our family and what we had to pay forward. And that conveyed in one respect. The second is we were really sincere about wanting to see other people successful, and they felt it. They knew by the questions we asked and the way that we answered that we had their best intent at heart. We truly wanted for them. And when people feel that, they let their guard down. They start to trust you, and they start to listen at a completely different level. So going into network marketing, it was a crazy story, you guys. First network marketing company ever in 22 months, the top rank of that company. Bigger than that was when we hit the top rank at $1 million a month. 6 months later, we had hit 2 million a month in sales. Now, this isn't about Bill and I. You may think I'm tooting our horn. I'm not. How do you get there? How do you grow and duplicate like that? Well, you have to build leadership. You can't just do it on your own. And building leadership starts with leading by example, being able to train on the points that we're training on with this masterclass, fine-tuned people that had never been in network marketing before, the same as us. Our whole organization of top income earners were brand new, with the exception of one, to network marketing. So what Bill is launching out of the gate with tonight is one of the key facets of success. It may seem like a simple point. It may seem like a smaller denominator. It's one of the biggest, because people's trust in you, the way they listen to you, the way they respond to you will absolutely set the stage for the level of success that you will have and the leadership that you will develop. Bill?
Yep. Thanks, baby. So you guys, as Cynthia and I just look around the industry in general, and we work with now thousands and thousands of people in this industry, we often challenge ourselves to crack the code. And what I mean by cracking the code is, what is the difference between people who have success in network marketing and people who do not have success in network marketing? And there's a lot of facets to that. But one thing that sticks out over and over and over again, you guys, this is one big one. Okay. It would be impossible for us to teach you all of the reasons why some people have success and some people don't in a 3-hour window. That could be a future masterclass all by itself. But one of the elements of that you're going to learn today, and that is most people in general. You just think about who are the top, not the top, who are the masses that do network marketing? Are they gurus, or are they your average everyday people? Those average everyday people can have massive success in network marketing, but they've got to be willing to learn and grow. They've got to become the person they would follow, right? And so one of the things that constantly stands out to us is people in general do not know how to talk to people. They just can't communicate well. Not they can talk, but what I mean is, can they effectively communicate and influence someone's decision to do something or not? That's the key right there. What is it about how we talk to someone that influences them to make a decision, right? Because if you talk to someone wrong, incorrectly, you can influence them to make a decision. It just won't be the decision that you want to make. Which what is the decision we want? We want people to want to do what we're doing, meaning join us, lock arms, run with us, build a network marketing company together, help other people succeed, right? We can influence people to do the opposite of that. We can run them straight out of town. Like we can run them off. And I believe that there are millions and millions and millions of people in the United States. I'll just talk United States that have been touched by network marketing that should be in network marketing. They should be here. They should be winning, but they were just spoken to the wrong way. And so it completely drove them off. And now we as professionals have a hill to climb in that they've already been contacted. So how do we get over that hill? How do we break through to these people that were contacted by a friend years ago about one of those network marketing things, right? And they said no because it looked like someone, looked like it was meant for someone who couldn't get a real job. Anybody ever felt like you were talking to someone that kind of thought that? Yes. We've talked to a lot of people that tend to think, hey, have a ton of fun, but leave me out of it. You look like someone that can't get a real job, right? And so we've talked to plenty of people that fall into that category. Um, Again, I hope that it's resonating with you that this isn't about memorizing scripts. It's about honing a skill. And what is the skill? The skill is influence at the end of the day. The end game is influence. How do we influence? How do we do it ethically and morally so that we're not, there's salespeople, they could literally sell ice to an Eskimo. But do we want to be that person? I don't think any of us want to be that person. We would like to retain as many of our friends as we can, right? Even the ones that say no to us, we still want to be friends afterwards. So we're not going to sell to them in a manner that is anti to being friends or staying friends, right? So let's start diving into the book. I think that's a good kind of opener to kind of explain to you how Magnetic Conversations came about, why we're doing it, kind of give you a summary of how you ended up here and what our thought process is around why this is such an important topic. So we'll start floating along here.
Bill,
Yes, babe.
okay, if we can get everybody really quickly in the chat to put a thumbs up if you've been in network marketing before. If this is your first network marketing company, please just put a star. That way we can identify everybody, and absolutely we want to customize for you any additional that you will be receiving on the backside of today's 3 hours. Awesome. Awesome. I noticed, Bill, too, that people are putting chats or comments in the chats.
Yeah.
And giving feedback and already saying that was me.
Right.
I've been that person. I feel you.
Yeah.
So let's get into the meat of it, Bill Delaney.
I absolutely love that. And help me keep up with the chats, babe, if you will, please. I don't want to miss anyone. And I think that when people interact, that makes this masterclass even that much better. So if you guys are feeling it, you're loving it, we've got a Zoom user. I'm going to let them in. Let's see who it is. I don't think anyone would be here if they didn't have the private link. So I don't know who Zoom user is. Hey, Zoom user, can you drop your name in the chat for us and let us know who you are so we know that you're supposed to be here, please? All right. Okay, guys. Just I'm not going to read this ebook to you. That would be stupid, right? I mean, this is a master class. We're going to teach principles. We're going to teach how to hone skills. Oh, Kelly, welcome, welcome. Welcome. Yeah, we're gonna use the ebook as a guide, and then you're gonna go back later and you're gonna use this ebook as your trusted advisor to continue to get better and better and better. When we're done with this master class, I think you're gonna have an excellent idea of why people do the things they do and don't do the things they do. You're gonna have an excellent idea of how to use questions to disarm people's um, objections to what it is you're proposing presenting, right? So chapter 1 is how to use the guide, and then we've got an introduction. We've got psychology behind why people say yes and no. We dedicated an entire chapter to that. That's how important it is. And then chapter 4, 5, 6, I think 7, 8, 9. There's 6 categories of questions. Okay, there's 100 questions in this guide. These questions are related to connection and trust building, problem awareness, solution fit and vision building, emotional consequence and urgency questions, commitment and action activation questions, and then leadership, identity, and duplication questions. So we've got a section, chapter 9 is all about how do you use this guide to teach, train your team to be duplicatable with you, to deploy these strategies, to multiply yourself. We would never teach anything in network marketing if it didn't include duplication, because it does not matter what works for you. It only matters what duplicates. And if you've never written that down with a pen, you should write it down. It does not matter what works for you. It only matters what duplicates. So if the things you're doing are not duplicatable by other people, you're going to have a very, very, very difficult road. This is going to be tough for you. It's going to be laborious and exhausting. I'm just going to tell you that.
Bill, let me add something really
I would love
quickly.
that.
So, as you begin, I want everybody here to think about these key points because they will make you better at inviting. They will fine tune your skills to introduction. They will also help you with your follow ups. And as associates in network marketing, you have to have the skill sets to promote. And the way that you communicate a promotion will also be part of what you're learning today. So, what we train on is becoming the best that you can be. Your skills will always elevate with these 4 areas, and you will be an amazing network marketer. Invite, introduce, follow up, promote.
Love, love, love. You apply the things you learn in this masterclass to those 4 components that Cynthia just described, and you're going to be fire. So moving on through the table of contents, we've got chapter 10, conclusion and a 7-day action plan. So that gives you some homework to do after we're done with the masterclass. And then we have some companion tools. There's 2 bonuses. It's a quick action cue card. That's what to ask and when, right? And then there's a printable tonality matrix. One of the things that's important about how you communicate with people is when you use certain tonalities. So you're not always excited like a UFO just landed in your backyard. Sometimes you are. Sometimes it's absolutely essential in network marketing to be excited like a UFO just landed in your backyard and you want all your friends to come over and see it, right? Sometimes that's absolutely essential. Sometimes that's completely inappropriate and people will just think you're crazy. So we're going to talk about tonality as well. So how to use this guide. Again, it's good. You're going to hear some things repeated. This guide is your conversation companion, not a script book. So you're going to see these 100 questions and you're going to go, oh, I just need to say that. Well, not maybe, maybe not. Read it, take from it, make it your own, learn the skill of what its intent is. The intent of these 100 questions is to show you examples of how people interact, what they mean when they respond to certain things, what they're actually telling you, not what they're saying, because what they're saying traditionally is not what they mean. Okay, and we'll get into some of that in depth in here. Okay. And then, so here's some ways to use it. A daily warm up. So you can use this on a daily basis. You can start your day by just pick out one or two categories of questions and read one or two questions out of those categories. Paying attention to your tone, your tonality. How are you going to present that type of question or conversation, right? So one of the tonalities is soft, curious delivery. So you're going to practice that, right? And we'll talk more about that in a minute. Option two is to, maybe 1 or 2 days a week, you grab a team member and you say, "Hey, let's do some role playing. I'll throw a couple of questions your way, and you throw a couple of questions my way, and let's see how it goes. Let's record ourselves, and then we can watch it later. We can see how it actually sounded, right? Because one thing a lot of times we say things and then we don't realize, we think we sound one way and we sound another. So when you record it and you listen to it later, you're like, "Oh, that was really good," or, "Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing," right? So recording yourself would be a really great way to play with someone. And if you don't have anybody to role play with, you can just record yourself, right? Having this conversation and then play it back for yourself.
I have another suggestion for the people that you meet. You're sitting at a car wash waiting for your car to come through, or you're getting your tires changed, or you're in line at the grocery store, or you're in line at TJ Maxx. I don't know. Just name it. You see and meet strangers every day. They're the perfect audience because you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. At the very least, you are going to increase your skill set through practice. Repetition and practice are key. Now, another thing that Bill said in regards to your tone, I tend to be a really animated and excited person. And there's people sometimes that I get on the phone with that are very serious or they're very quiet and their personality is not to be, "Oh my gosh, that's my personality naturally." You want to know your audience. And as Bill, runs through these key factors in being wildly successful in network marketing, I want you to remind yourself, you've already said yes. It is not about you. It is about the person that you're presenting this to. So meet them where they are with that tone or with that conversation. Bill?
That's fire, babe. Thanks so much. I love it. I just love it when you jump in like that. It is so, so great. Like, man, that was fire. So what Cynthia is referring to is called mirroring and pacing. So when you have someone who doesn't match your energy, you mirror and pace their energy. And there is a element of human psychology where you get on a plane with them and you start resonating with them. Did you guys know that you can mirror and pace people and you will have natural influence with them from a psychological standpoint? How many of you guys didn't know about that? It's okay, just raise your hand if you've never heard of mirroring and pacing. Most people have heard of mirroring and pacing. Do you use it? Do you practice it? Or do you tend to forget about it? I think a lot of us tend to forget about it. Even myself, understanding it the way that I do, I still tend to, sometimes I'll forget. And sometimes I'll be like, "Oh man, that probably would have gone even better than it did if I could have just got a little more in sync with their energy," because I think we were out of sync a little bit. And so it's easy when you're in the mix of things, you're having a conversation, you're thinking about what you're going to say. You need to give them the right information in the right order and the right everything. And it's easy to forget mirroring and pacing. But I think that was absolute fire, babe. And thanks so much. So here's a pro tip. at the bottom of page 6 here, the more you teach these questions, the more natural they will become. The more you teach these questions, the more duplication you'll have in your group, you guys. So teaching these with your team, learning them with your team, teaching them with your team is going to take your business to the next level. And then chapter 2 is an introduction. I think that everybody on here knows who we are, babe. If there's something that stands out that you want to talk about, there's at the end of the introduction here, there's a whole section on you and I for the people that join the master class in the future that don't know who we are, because this is generic, non-company specific training for everyone in network marketing. But let me just go through a couple of these bullet points and I'll turn it over to you, babe. So this guide is meant to be a powerful communication guide, right? It's for recruiting, retention strategies. In an industry where hype often replaces substance and pressure overrides trust. Have you guys ever seen anyone in network marketing? They get so excited, they get desperate, and they start losing the substance of what their opportunity is, what their products represent, and it just becomes something completely different. You know what I'm talking about? So what this guide is meant to do is to elevate us, to take us to another level, to make us something different, something sustainable, right? So this guide is in no way, like we were talking about earlier, this is worth repeating. This guide is not about manipulating people into joining our business. Okay. It's about elevating our communication skills so we can authentically influence and confidently lead people to self-discovery. What you're going to learn as we go through this is what we're actually doing with asking questions in the right way is we're leading people to self-discovery. They're going to actually start convincing themselves. And when you do this, when you start learning these skills, you start applying this, you're going to go, my goodness, these people are literally selling themselves on why they should do this. Okay. You'll see, that's going to make a lot more sense as we get through this. Okay. Um,
Okay, so I want to add this. Number one, I want all of you to know that Bill and I are here right now with you today with literally no gain in mind. I want you to know that. I know we're all a part of the same organization, but I want you to hear what I'm saying right now. You do know our background, and I don't think we need to run through our bio. But what I want you to hear is this: you all can hit whatever goals you set with the right focus, the right work ethic, and the right skill sets. And Bill and I want to see all of you wildly successful. In that regard, what we're training you on today is the absolute in what you can't leave out if you are looking for that success. This is where it's got to all start, with the influence that you have on others, with your ability to listen, to communicate, to know your audience. So I just want you to hear my heart. I have never been more excited about any other venture in our life before network marketing, because we've never been able to pay it forward the way that we can, the way that all of you will in network marketing. So I just felt like that was really important to share, Bill. I think everybody knows our heart, but I wanted to start off on that note.
Thank you so much, baby. All right. And then continuing on in this section, I just want to say this. By the end of this master class, you're going to understand how to become a trusted advisor instead of a salesperson. If you're sharing this with your friends, do you want them to think of you as a salesperson or a trusted advisor? Which one? Trusted advisor, right? That's kind of a no-brainer. So,
one more thing, Bill. One more thing. I'm sorry. Um, I love what you're saying right now. Trusted advisor, not a salesperson. The people that are most successful in this industry know that whatever product braces up the opportunity, there can be a lot of them: makeup, supplements, water machines, um, healing mats, clothing, Tupperware or cookware, and all kinds of things, right? A lot of people have made huge, huge fortunes from all of those things. But I want you to know the key, and they all know it. And we talk about it behind closed doors with the top income earners in this industry earning 500,000, $1 million a month. You are selling the dream.
Hopes and
That's
dreams
the key.
alive. Hopes
That's
and
the key.
dreams alive. That's our primary product in network marketing. I don't care what the company is.
Yep.
Hopes and dreams alive is number one product of every network marketing company out there. Most people can't even tell you what Amway's products are other than soaps and stuff. They say soap and stuff, laundry detergent and stuff, right? They can't really name a product. There's no clinical scientific studies or any of that to go research. They sold hopes and dreams, and people built many, many, many generations of wealth with Amway. They still do $11 billion. They almost do $1 billion every month. It's insane, you guys. So, all right. So this is worth pointing out. So, leveraging this guide to disarm skepticism. So, like literally in the first 60 seconds of any conversation, you should have the skills to disarm skepticism. Any of you guys run across people who are skeptical? I love skeptical people. Cynthia does too. She's really good at disarming skeptical people. And then get prospects to open up and tell you what they truly want. How do you get people to open up and tell you what they want? There's only one way to do it, you guys. It's to ask them questions. You ask questions and you listen twice as much as you talk. Okay. And you'll find out what you want because they will tell you. And as they're telling you, you shift from salesperson to trusted advisor. So this guide's going to help you handle objections in a way that builds trust instead of triggering defenses. Do you guys all realize? Yeah, I can't imagine any of us don't realize we have a self-defense mechanism built into our psychology that as soon as someone starts talking to us, we know right away if they're trying to sell us something or not, right? Yes or yes. We
It's
all
called
know
a
that.
BS meter.
We
BS
all,
meter.
yeah, the BS meter, right? We all have it. It's human psychology. That's why I said earlier, you master human psychology, you win. So this guide again is all about leading conversations that spark belief, create vision, inspire action. Okay. And like I said, there's 100 tested questions categorized in 6 categories in this guide. And we're going to go through some of these questions from each category. We're not going to go through 100 questions. It would take us days to do that. You guys would get bored and fall asleep. So some of this will be self-paced. And then I want to point this out because this is important. Each of the questions has examples of strong and weak responses from the prospect. It also includes an expert breakdown and it has pro tips for each question. It also has a real world application for each question, and it has a entire breakdown on objection handling, right? So moving on, we're Bill and Cynthia Delaney. Hi, great to meet you. All right, chapter 3. This is a big one, you guys. Like, I can't overstate it. This is what I was saying when I said master human psychology and you win. The psychology behind why people say yes or no in network marketing. And some of this, after you study it and observe it, you're going to go, well, yeah, that makes sense. That's logical. But do our brains always work logical? Let me explain something to you. Our brains don't work logically from the very beginning. What do I mean? Like, look right here where it says, here's the truth. You guys see that? People don't make decisions on logic. Okay. I know all the guys in the room are going, that's crazy. I absolutely make decisions based on logic. And yeah, we do apply logic in a heavy manner, but here's the thing. Our decisions are triggered by emotions, and then we use our logic later to justify them, right? Does that make sense? Are you with me now? So we use logic to justify our emotionally charged decisions that we already made. Okay, so what does that mean for us with the regard to magnetic conversations? We need to evoke emotions in people. When you guys are having conversations with prospects, or you're doing a three-way call, or you're doing a follow-up call, do you think about evoking emotion in them? Is it something you consciously have done in the past, or do you just talk? Most people just talk, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's what we've learned to do our whole life. And so we tend to just do what we're on autopilot to do, and that's just talk. We're going to learn through this master class, and by applying this ebook over time, we're going to learn how to be intentional in what we say. We're going to think. Go ahead, babe.
Bill, a comment by Sue Ontiveros is very, very pertinent right now in regards to this industry, the industry of network marketing, depending on which company, but the average is 78 to 83% women. So the conversation that Bill is starting right now on evoking emotion is critical, because women, you guys, am I right or am I right, are emotional creatures.
Yeah.
We are triggered off of love and compassion and excitement and celebration. There's a lot of things that trigger us, and we're probably the opposite. We're triggered emotionally, and then we think more logically.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much, babe. So here's the thing. If you don't understand how people feel, you're gonna really struggle to get them on board with what it is that you're wanting to get them on board with. Whether, whatever it is. I'll tell you, this strategy, this book will get you a long way in life, not just in network marketing, and this will take you places. So we're going to break down what these psychological drivers are, right? Whether it's I'm in or no, I'll pass, we're going to break them down. So we're going to get into the meat of some of this stuff, what these emotional triggers are and how they play out every day in all the conversations that we have. I just want to pause for a second. Based on what we've already laid out, are you guys seeing a pattern and a trend of how you might modify going forward? Or maybe even a better question is, do you kind of see now how some of the previous conversations in the past went wrong? Anybody? Because when I read this stuff, I'm like, yeah, I can totally see how I missed the opportunity with some people in the past, because I did it based on what I thought was logical, what I thought someone needed, what I thought they wanted, and um, I did not resonate with their emotion and what it was that they actually wanted. I, in the past, you guys, I didn't take the time or apply strategies to find out what it was that people wanted or what they needed, right? And so I make it intentional now to do these things. So here's the deal, you guys. We're going to go through 7 factors, psychological factors of why people say yes or no, why they do the things they do or don't do. And number 1 is pain avoidance. Pain avoidance. People are far more motivated to get out of pain than to pursue pleasure. How many of you guys agree with that? Would you rather Would you rather get out of pain or pursue pleasure? We all like pleasure, but pain, man, we will do anything to get out of pain and suffering. Anything. So knowing that and being conscious of it and being intentional is what we're talking about here. So think about some of the things that cause people pain. Do money struggles cause people pain? Burnout at work, does that cause people pain? What about what about lack of time freedom? That was a big one for Cynthia and I was so busy working dark to dark, missing time with Cynthia and Dylan that my time freedom was a massive motivator for us to start our own business, to do something different other than corporate America. So you probably know some people like that, right? That's pain and suffering. These are the type of things you want to uncover, right? These are kind of things you want to uncover in people. You're even going to discover if someone's embarrassed that they're not living the life that they promised themselves or their family, right?
That's choice. That is the pain point of not having enough choice.
Yep. So here's an example. So as an example, a prospect might say to you, I'm just not sure this is the right time for me. Right. And typically in the past, before learning these strategies, I would go, oh, well, it's not their timing. It's just not the right time for 'em. I would just agree with them and I would just kind of go along with it. And I would probably lose that prospect. But here's the thing. That's not really what they're saying. They're not saying this isn't the right time for me. What they're really saying is I'm drowning in stress and I'm terrified to take on one more thing. How many people have you met that fall into that category, drowning in stress and scared to take on one more thing? Is that not most people? That's most people. Most people that are living in today's economy are drowning in financial stress, other stresses, and they're just scared to death to even consider taking on one more thing. So now that we know that and we're aware of that, we can be completely intentional with how we frame these conversations with them. So, how to use this particular thing. Don't just talk about what they could gain. Remember, we're wired to escape pain more than run for pleasure. Don't just talk about what they could gain. Ask questions that uncover the pain they're tired of tolerating. Okay, so we're going to get into some of what these questions are. Here's an example. What's something in your life right now that you know needs to change? Like, that's an easy question to ask somebody. What's something you know needs to change? Most people will be like, well, sitting in traffic for an hour and a half each direction going back and forth to work. That's something that really needs to change, but I don't know what that would look like. I don't know how to do that, right? So number two, loss aversion. What does that mean? So what that means is people will literally work twice as hard to avoid losing something than gaining something new, missing out, right? Anybody ever heard of FOMO, fear of missing out, FOMO? All of us, I don't care who you are, we all have FOMO. It I mean, it could be your favorite um music artist is having a big concert and you're missing out because you got something else conflicting with it. Your friends are going and you don't get to go and you have FOMO. We all have FOMO. So, all right. So, just checking on the chat box here, but what if you know their life and it's true? My friend's son was getting married as a destination wedding and she takes care of both her parents and is going through her own medical stuff. When do you pull back for a bit and let the wedding happen, then reapproach? Well, yeah, of course. There are life events. I think, Sue, that's a perfect example of being a trusted advisor instead of a salesperson. So when you help your friend identify that you're their trusted advisor and you're not just trying to get something from them, and you take them through an era of self-discovery, just using some questions, let them, when they hear themselves answer these questions, their subconscious starts triggering and kicking in, and they start telling themselves, my goodness, I really need to do something different. Like in this particular example, Sue, if this person had planted the oak tree before they needed the shade, meaning they had created a financial windfall, they probably could make it would be much easier for them to make arrangements to take care of both parents, and manage the medical stuff and balance out the destination wedding. Having excess financial resources would make all of those things easier. So having that conversation, while it might not press the pace on them getting started because they have so much life happening, it very well could have them come back around when the dust settles and go, man, um, what is that thing again that you were talking about? That financial windfall, that financial firewall of protection around my family. You want to add to that, baby? You're an expert in this area.
Well, what I'm listening to that you're sharing right now is meeting people where they're at, being respectful, creating trust, being professional, and also triggering their own reasoning of where they are, why they're experiencing lack of choice, pain in choice, whatever it may be. And you're starting to plant the questions you were talking about that create the little micro yeses. These are the examples of not everybody is going to be a yes right now. They are not a no either. They're just a not yet. So, how do you get there with some individuals? Well, it's not always as fast as you want, but it's through being sincerely interested in their moving their life in a positive direction, and you have something to help them. And that little micro yes can grow into a huge seed by the time they get back that leads them to want to sit down with you and learn more.
Right. That's awesome, babe. Micro yeses, you guys. So what does she mean? She's talking about getting yes after yes after yes in tiny little doses. And what does that look like? That looks like asking the right questions, taking someone through self-discovery and having them realize that what you're talking about makes sense. And you just kind of go from one checkpoint to the next checkpoint until they're ready to jump on board, right? So, as logical as that sounds right there, to sound sincere about what's happening in someone's life, it's not as easy as it sounds when we say it, meaning we have to be intentional. We have to know what are the right questions to ask to take them on that self-discovery. You know what I'm saying? So, loss aversion, right? So what does that mean? So loss aversion, this FOMO I was talking about, this is why deadlines, limited spots. You guys see this in marketing every day, right? You see it on TV ads, you see it in online ads, limited spots, deadlines, this offer expires. Why do those things work so well? Because loss aversion is a human psychology, it's an element of human psychology that affects most all people. If this stuff doesn't affect you, you're an anomaly. It affects most all people, or people would, these companies would not spend money on these strategies. Deadlines, limited spots, offer expires, right? Do you think a marketing company would spend millions of dollars running these strategies if they didn't work? This is human psychology. Why do we let why do we let these companies have all of the leverage psychologically and we don't deploy it in network marketing? I think it's because most people that are in network marketing never even heard of this stuff, or they heard of it and it just didn't never really, they didn't see the application for what it was they're doing within network marketing. So now that we're aware of it, a lot of what you're going to learn in this master class, you're just going to become aware. You're going to become intentional. So when you become aware and intentional, these strategies are going to start being implemented by you. You might not remember a single question out of the 100 questions in this book, and that's okay. That is not the goal of this book. The goal of this book is to get you aware and intentional. Okay? Are you guys taking notes out? Awareness and intentional. So But in network marketing, it's deeper than just traditional marketing. So a lot of people fear that they don't have more time. Remember, we talked about that a minute ago. They can't imagine taking on one more thing, so they fear wasting time. Another trigger for people is they have fear of failure. They don't want their friends to see them fail. So if they join a network marketing company and then they go talk to people, and then 6 months later they quit, and then their friends are going to go, well, see, you didn't even stick to that, you failed. So they're already afraid of that up front. And then they fear, this is another one, you guys, they fear telling you yes and then looking stupid later, right? They don't want to look stupid. So what what that means is, well, let me go through this example because it's going to break it down for you. A prospect watches a powerful testimonial. Okay, so they saw, we let's just say we threw up a testimonial video and someone just watched it and they were blown away by that testimonial video. They're like, wow, that's super impressive. But then they hesitate. Why do they hesitate? Because deep down in their subconscious, in their self defense mechanism, hidden within their psychology, they're afraid of something, whether it's wasting time, failing in front of their peers, or just looking stupid, right? And so, how do we get over that? We get over that by shifting the focus from what they might lose, right? By saying yes, to what they're already losing by staying stuck. That's worth repeating. That's a mic drop right there. Shift the focus from what they might lose by saying yes to what they're already losing by staying stuck. That's a big one, you guys. And then, what's the cost of doing nothing? Where will you be in 12 months if nothing changes? Do y'all see how powerful this stuff is? If we are aware of this and we are intentional and we apply these things in our conversations, I promise there is absolutely no way that your conversion rate of yeses doesn't go up. It's impossible because this is dominating human psychology. This is winning the psychology game. Okay, everybody with me? Moving on to number 3. Belonging and identity. This is a big one in network marketing because people in general, they want to feel like we're seeing them, hearing them, and that they could potentially be part of something bigger than themselves. How many of you guys, be honest, how many of you guys love the fact of being involved with your network marketing company because you're part of a movement and a community? I love that. I think most people in network marketing love being on a team. They love being part of a community, and they love feeling like they're part of something bigger than themselves, a movement, right? And this goes across all spectrums of ages. This is not age uh, centric whatsoever. So people don't just buy products, they buy identity, right? So think about some of the big brands that you've grown up with. They sold a feeling, an emotion, not a product, right? Think about that. Nike sells. Go ahead, babe. Go for it.
Oh,
Jump
oh,
in. You're perfect for this.
we're on the same exact page. That's exactly what I was about to say. I don't want to steal your
No,
thunder.
do it. Go for it. You're way
Okay.
better at this than me.
Evoking emotion is what the top companies have always done. Does Nike sell tennis shoes? No, they say just do it. They give you the freedom to run naked through the streets if that's what you want to do. They take that wild abandon and they give you that freedom that people are looking for. Then you have others like Coca Cola, the real thing, the real thing. We all want truth. We all want it said the way it is, the real thing. And then Apple, make a difference. Make a difference. That feeling that we all want to impact the world. We want to be a part of a wave of something bigger than ourselves, something good, something real. And we want to be connected. These advertising, marketing companies are genius. Look at all the companies that you know and love that you've bought from for years. And I guarantee you, almost every one of them is never mentioning anything about their product. They are all creating a movement by emotion, a community and culture of people that are on the same page. Make a difference. The real thing. Just do it.
Fire, fire. All right. So being aware and being intentional, how does this apply? Right. So what this means is being aware that people are looking for where they're going to fit in, or is this something that's going to help me become who I want to be? Right? So here's an example, and this is a big one. A struggling mom sees a team full of empowered women. She starts thinking, maybe this is the tribe I've been missing. Do you guys not? I'm going to tell you right now, there are tens of millions of women inside of network marketing today for that very reason right there. Not the products, not the comp plan, nothing else. It's because they see a team full of empowered women and they think that's my tribe. So what does that mean? If we're aware of that, we got to be intentional about helping them form the vision for themselves of your opportunity being where they want to plug into that. So what does that mean? We start showing that to them, right? We start asking them questions that would help them frame that in their mind that they've actually been missing a tribe. So use language that welcomes them into a mission or a movement, not a business. How many of us pitch businesses? We've all been guilty of that, right? We've said it before. We put it in the WhatsApp group. Money is not the goal. Freedom is the goal, right? But how do you generate money with a business? But did we say business is not the goal? Freedom's the goal? No, money's not the goal. Freedom's the goal. So, example, we're a team of everyday people. You can change that to we're a team, you know, make this stuff fit your audience. So, we're a team of empowered women building something extraordinary, and we'd love to lock arms with you. That would resonate much better with that struggling mom example. All right, moving on to number. Oh, go ahead, babe.
Just real quick, I want you to think about what Bill just said. And I believe it's the Army. And if anybody has been in the military and that wasn't your arm, and you're like, why is she saying Army? Then just get over it. But the example I'm using is Army says, be all you can be. And that's the mindset that Bill's talking about. Where do you go? Where can you flourish and be all you can be? The best you. There's no better platform than network marketing. So, again, another slogan that's absolutely spot on, targeted to what Bill's talking about.
Fire, 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 fire. All right. So before I go to number 4, I want to pause again and repeat something. We're not memorizing scripts. We're learning to be aware and intentional. Okay. I hope everyone's got that written down, right? We're not memorizing scripts. We're learning to be aware and intentional. Number 4, future vision. This is a big one, you guys. Who's ever heard the saying facts tell and stories sell? Yeah, because you're helping someone paint a vision for what their future could be. When you tell those stories, they start plugging themselves in. Well, maybe that could happen for me, right? So people will buy into a future version of themselves if they can believe in it. What makes them believe in it? Well, you can help them go through a process of self-discovery and believe in it, right? So they will say yes when they see themselves succeeding in your system. Let's break that down a little bit. If they can't visualize the transformation, they won't act. right? No matter how good the opportunity is, you could have, I mean, you could have an opportunity that grows limbs back and cures paralysis. And if someone doesn't visualize a transformation for themselves, it won't matter. They're not going to join your business, right? So here's an example. A prospect listens to you, but can't picture themselves recruiting or speaking on stage. They don't see themselves doing what it is that you did, right? We talk about this a lot, you guys, about other people have to be able to see themselves doing what it is that you're doing, right? That's why we talk about keeping it simple and duplicatable. So they might respond to you something like, I don't think I'm cut out for this. Well, what they're really telling you is the things that you've just done to demonstrate the opportunity to them tells them, puts up their self-defense mechanism and their psychology that says, I need to tell this person I'm not cut out for this because I don't want to do what it is they're doing, or I am not willing to learn how to do what it is they're doing. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to paint a picture of progress, not perfection, right? Like I said, lots of people make lots of mistakes, and I can tell you right now, taking action and making mistakes, you can mistake yourself right to the top of a network marketing company if you swing the bat enough times. If you make enough mistakes, you'll get there, I promise. It's the non-action takers. It's the people that are um, getting ready to get ready because it's not perfect yet. Those are the people that are going to struggle in network marketing. How many of you guys have heard, and I know you pros that are on here have heard this, but the person at the front of the room or the person with the microphone makes most of the money? We ever heard that? Yeah. So that's part of the duplication system. So what does that mean for you within your network marketing business? What that means, and I'm going a little bit off path here because it's such an important thing to mention, is you want to have as many me's of yourself presenting all across the country every single night of the week as you can possibly produce. The goal is not 100% of your own efforts. The goal is 1% of 100 people's efforts, right? So most of us started where you are, speaking to a beginner, right? Most of us started where you are. We just take it one conversation at a time and we grow as we go. And I would add to that, I would say, as a team, we do this together as a team. So you won't be doing it alone, right? So helping someone paint a future vision. Rolling on to number 5 on the psychology chart, certainty versus uncertainty. This is interesting because Cynthia and I have gone through quite a bit of Tony Robbins training, and he has one element of psychology that he teaches on is certainty. If you're the type of person that requires certainty, some people don't need certainty. They're just adventurous and they'll just jump. They'll just go do crazy stuff and take risk. And that's just their personality and that's how their psychology is wired. But then there's people who absolutely need certainty, right? So again, us being aware of what it is that people want and being intentional to help them discover what it is that they want. And if it's certainty, we're going to help them get there, right? So when people feel uncertain, the ones that need certainty, they just freeze up. They'll do nothing. So unclear unclear offers or unclear messages feel risky, okay? Clarity and simplicity build safety and trust, right? Oh, did you see Roland said, I got nervous. I thought you were calling me out, LOL. So Sue said, that's my toughest person to talk with, needing all of the details. I just go. So look, there's ways to simply get people through that. And so how many of you guys have had someone tell you, I need to think about it? Anybody? Yeah. So what that usually means is I'm not 100% sure what I'd be getting into. What that means is we haven't given them enough information to gain the certainty they need to figure out if this is something they can do, want to do, willing to do, if they can see their future self benefiting from this, right? So going back to number 4. So how to use this, break things down into simple, clear steps. You guys, this is one of the things Cynthia and I focus. So this is one of the reasons why we focus on systems. 1, 2, 3, simple 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? That's to remove as much guesswork as possible. So evaluate within your network marketing business. Are you deploying in conversations with people simple 1, 2, 3? Can people see themselves doing what it is you're doing, right? And are they willing to do what you're doing? And can they do what you're doing, right? So here's an example. Here's exactly what will happen if you lock arms with us today. Step 1, step 2, step 3. You want to jump in on that, babes? I know you're
Well, there's
the
a
queen
couple
of
of
1, 2, 3.
yeah, there's a couple of chats really quickly, and then you can tell me more over what you're looking for from me. But there's the question or the comment that some people say, or I need to research it. I need to research it. Um, that one is pretty cut and clear. I am definitely the businesswoman that goes off of a lot of these marketing strategies of the big companies. So in the back of my head, if somebody says I need to research it, I'm thinking Nike, just do it. So what is my response? My response with a smile and sincerity, not me trying to convince or force anybody to do anything, is to say, good thing you don't have to. The research has already been done for you. You can validate this in 5 minutes. This is what you do next. The psychology there is emulated in many big companies and their strategies. MasterCard says money can't buy everything, but for everything else, there's MasterCard, right? So we've got some strategy that, as Bill is sharing, needs to be reinforced with confidence, conviction, a clear path for somebody to see that you know what you're doing so that they can trust in you to lead them where they want to go.
Right. That's a big one right there, babe. Is here's a question you have to honestly answer yourself. And you may want to write this down and reflect on it later. Are you someone that you would follow to financial success? Are you someone you would follow? If you're not, then you need to grow into you've got to become that person that someone else will follow to financial success, right? So we've got a couple in the chat here, babe, from Kelly. Have had bright eyes of desire and then flickered dulls and commitment not there. So they saw enough to formulate a future vision of benefit for themselves, but then something happened.
Sure, life happened. Somebody negative stepped into the picture and brought them back down to earth again. How dare they dream or think that they can be and do something? A lot of times, our friends, family, it's hard to say, they can be the ones that speak into your life. Caution, caution. Because if you go out there and blaze the trail, what are they going to have to face? The fact that if they did more, they could be providing more for their family too. And they're comfortable being uncomfortable. It's a fact of the fact. So when somebody's eyes dull and they have doubt, it is our place to bring them the glimmer of hope, the hopes and dreams alive. Do you believe where you sit? Do you believe what you have? Da 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 da. McDonald says, I'm loving it. Listen, that is the worst food for you. But because of that jingle, people come flocking. So imagine if you're convicted. Imagine If you give them the next steps clearly, let them know that the teamwork, the support, that the duplication model will be here for them to streamline what they need to do, even with 3 jobs and not enough time with their kids, because the flicker probably dimmed with, this is going to require more from me, and I'm already strung the heck out. Or I haven't been successful. Why do I hear this now? Is it another one of those things? Am I just going to fail again? This is when you come in and you shake the tree. You give them reason. You give them reason to live bigger, to believe in themselves. Let them know you're going to believe in them probably more than they're going to believe in themselves for a while. This is a industry of self-development. This absolutely will take you places you've never been, because people will believe in you to that extent. And as your skill sets rise, you'll find yourself doing things and doing things better than you ever imagined. So going back in and asking that person, you were so excited, connect them with the feeling that they had when they had it. It's also key that you guys don't move slow. If you move super slow because you're afraid you may bother them, you're going to have a lot of no's. If you move super slow, you're giving their Uncle Joe that was in network marketing in 1986 that didn't have success because he never did anything and he was hoping that he just got lucky. You just gave him the heads up when it comes to whatever that person is thinking. So it's important that you drip on them, that you have a call to action every time you speak to them. Okay, I hear what you need, and now I know what I need to send you next. I see what you're seeking. And now I can show you the 3x3 model in 90 days that will get you, if you duplicate your teachable and trainable, to almost $20,000 in 3 months. Do you know your tools? Do you know what you're giving them? Are you empowering them? And are you outweighing the negative that's held them back for the last 5 or 10 years? Because if people are broke right now and they were broke 5 years ago, you're going to have to move them off of high center because they're scared or they're defeated or they're tired or they're covered up with negative influences in their life. Is that what you wanted, Bill?
Absolutely perfect. Thanks so much, babe. And think of it like this, Kelly and Sue. Sue also said, been there right at enrollment. Ugh. So think of this, you guys, now that we're learning this psychology, not only are we learning the psychology, we may have already known this, we may have known this previously, but now that we're aware, right, we're fully awake to it, and now we can be intentional about it. Think about those particular circumstances because there are specific nuances in every one of those conversations. Think back to what it was when they were really excited, and then what time period passed, like Cynthia was talking about being success, love, speed. But I want you to do this. I want you to be intentional about the feelings, and I want you to be aware, and I want you to come up with, and this would be a really good drill for you, be really good homework. Go back to some of those old conversations, and I want you to apply where you could have asked a question or two or three, injected some questions at a follow-up that could have brought that person back around to the feeling they had, because at some point they were feeling like their future version of themselves could benefit from what it was you were presenting to them. So what are those questions? Is it like, here's an example. What is the true cost of staying where you are? What if you do nothing different? Where will you be in 6 months? Where will you be in 12 months? Right? You start asking some of these questions to people, they will self-convince. They will literally sell themselves. Okay. Moving on to number 6. This is a difficult word for me. It's reciprocal, basically, reciprocity and micro commitments. All right, humans are wired to return favors. Do we like to do things? If people do something nice for us, do you like to do something nice back? Yes, we all do that, right? Do you have to think about it or it just comes natural? It just comes natural. So, knowing that, now that we're aware, we can be intentional with how we build our network marketing business. So, since we're wired to return favors, if you lead with value, right, and clarity, people are going to feel naturally inclined to give back to you. If you lead with sales breath, like you want something from them, like you're trying to sell them, like you're trying to convince them, you're not going to get the return you're looking to get, right? So this is a lead in right here to what Cynthia was talking about micro yeses earlier. When someone says a small yes, they're more likely to say a bigger yes later. So remember those micro wins Cynthia was talking about earlier? Just get little tiny doses of yeses along the way. And all that could just be them agreeing with you on some things, or that could be you asking the right question and them coming to a realization. That little realization could be a micro yes, right? So someone reads your text message that leads with value and then they agree to watch a 3-minute video. So you sent a message that had enough value for them to give you a micro yes, then they agree to watch a 3-minute video or go to a Zoom presentation, right? And then after that, another micro yes, then they're open to a three-way call. You see where those micro yeses are coming into play? We're kind of stacking yeses until we get them to the end goal, right? Then they join.
Can I add something?
Then they join. Then they join. But they got to say yes a couple times. Yes, please jump in, babe.
Okay. So the reality here is that over the last year, and it hasn't changed since 2009 when Bill and I entered network marketing, over the last year, I have been charting the people that I've been a part of speaking to, either directly or as a third party. What are their triggers? What get them more interested? What are their main pain points? Is there a trend? These are things that Bill and I are always following because economies change and that can change somewhat, right? Well, 90% of the people that I've spoken to have money needs. 90%. People you wouldn't even imagine that are worried about their businesses or their mortgages. So when Bill was talking about that sales breath, that's why Bill and I always said no to network marketing. Now, this is not 100% the rule, okay? But it I just gave you a humongous statistic. Sales breath leads to people saying, I don't want to do what you do. I don't have enough time with my kids. My spare time is very small. I have 3 jobs. I don't need another one. Sales breath makes somebody feel that you're about to take from them, take money out of their pocket, take their time to give them the spiel. When you give something that shows value in their life changing, the incremental interest goes with the incremental change. How much is this going to impact my life for the better? So a lot of people take the approach that, well, I don't want them to think that I'm asking them for money. That's not the right mindset anyway. And people are going to feel you and they're going to run from you. Okay. Because that is that primal place in our brain Bill was talking about, that BS meter that makes people run. So think about what you are presenting them with. Be honest about it. Be excited about it and let them pick and choose what's best for them and their family. But don't hide behind a product, because more often than not what's going to move somebody is more choice, more time, more freedom, hopes and dreams alive. Bill?
Absolutely. 1,000,000%. So, micro yeses, don't rush the big yes. How many of you guys went to a Super Zoom and then immediately after the Super Zoom, you just signed up? No, none of us did that. Why do you think anyone else is going? This is what we're talking about, stacking small yeses. You've got to get people through there's a process to this. Sometimes you can press the pace and success loves speed and you can move them along quicker. But the only way you're going to do that is through a self-evaluation, self-realization that you help them discover through asking the right questions, right?
Can I add something? One more thing, Bill. As people said that some people have switched gears after they were excited and were at a yes, ready to go, something happened. When you circle back around to them and you find that they are in a cautionary mode for some reason, some of the things that you can ask are, if not now, when?
Yeah,
If not
big one.
here, where? If not this, what? Because those questions trigger a feeling of, I may miss out. They don't have the answers to those questions. So it makes them present themselves in the moment with what they have in front of them. And then their response will be highly triggered by how much they trust you, what you're doing, and how you'll be able to help them reach their goals as well.
That is fire right there. Awesome job, babe. And number 7, social proof and authority. So why do you guys think that we leverage the third party tools and testimonials like we do? Because social proof works. How many of you guys buy stuff on Amazon because of the star rating? It gets a 4.8 or a 4.9 or a 5-star rating and you buy the product. Yes? That's social proof at work right there. You don't know if those testimonials are correct or not, right? Um, but you trust them because they're coming from a bunch of people, right? So, got a chat here, babe, from Austin as we speak. Just got this response. This is perfect example. My bad, bro. I can't make it. To be honest with you, I'm in the mix for some other jobs right now and might be moving. So I don't know if I can commit to anything right now. I appreciate you thinking about me. Perfect. So now, Austin, you're aware of what that really means, what they're really telling you, right? So you'll be able to frame a conversation with him later with some questions that's going to help him realize that if he doesn't change, nothing changes, right? That's the end goal there. So by the time this master class is over, I think you're going to have a much different conversation with him than you would have had with him if you had this conversation yesterday, right? So going forward, you're going to be much better equipped to manage that. That's perfect. That's a perfect example. And we'll be going through some questions here in a minute that are going to frame some of this, and I think you're going to have some clarity on that. So people trust what others validate. Back to the Amazon example. So do you guys see how this is all human psychology? Every bit of it, everything that everyone does is all tied back to that human psychology. This is why we said master psychology, you win the game. You just win. That's all there is to it. So people trust what others validate. They want to know, has this worked for people like me? That's why the testimonials are so important. Can I trust the person showing it to me?
Okay, let
Hopefully,
me let
go
me
for it.
chime in right there, Bill, just real quick. Okay, can we all agree that Doritos do not have any nutritional value? Even if you love them,
Yeah,
Can
we
you
can all agree to
agree?
that, right?
There's no nutritional value. But they're brilliant in their strategy because that commercial of that really hot girl when they open the Doritos and they throw one across to her and she opens her mouth and she catches that Dorito, it makes you want Doritos, right? So, what Bill's talking about in that regard is evoking that feeling that, people don't even necessarily know where it's coming from in that regard, but it triggers a response in somebody. And I want to say, Austin, with your friend that texted you, that the question is, will he ever move again? Will he ever be looking for another job again? Well, maybe this time he'd like to hang his hat somewhere where he can grow an income no matter where he is in the world, no matter what time it is in the world, and a residual that will pay him while he's traveling around the world. Take that into consideration because very few industries provide that kind of opportunity. And we're not even talking about the travel benefits and everything else that comes along with it, Austin. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, and babe, Rick actually dropped a message in here to Austin, says, he said, "Hey Austin, I'm into this business because I'm able to do it from anywhere, just saying."
Yep.
Right?
Perfect.
And so what's a question you could ask Austin to your friend that would get him to realize that this is a business that goes anywhere with him? Well, you want to ask him a question, right? Like, uh, how would your life look if you had the ability to earn a residual income from wherever you happen to be, no walls, no limits? Like if you could earn money from your cell phone, no matter where you were, would that be something that would make your life better or worse? Ask him that question and see what kind of response you get. So you're going to find, Austin, in these 100 questions, you're going to find examples like that you can deploy in these particular situations. And I'm telling you, when you switch from informing people, from telling people, from explaining to people, when you switch from that to asking them questions, and you learn how to walk someone through self-discovery, I'm telling you, your conversion rate's going to skyrocket. You're going to skyrocket.
That's
So
a perfect point, Bill, because painting the picture of hopes and dreams alive, we're selling a dream. What can make somebody's life better? And that's the comeback. That is the something that you need to turn into a question and ask them. They've shared enough with you. You know what holds them back, what triggers them in certain regards, what their biggest needs are. Now you can simply pose the question that has them answering for themselves, right, Bill?
yep, perfect. So here's the other thing that I think it just popped in my head a minute ago. I want to put this out there. Sometimes we don't have our own success story in network marketing yet. So what do we do? How do we help someone see that their life can be more? And that is, until we have our own success story, we borrow other people's success stories. If you guys go to businessforhome.org, there is a top earners list. There's like, I think it's the top 1,000 network marketing earners on earth are on that list, and it shows you exactly how much they make. You can use examples, like a perfect example is our dear friend Annie, who worked in network marketing for 9 months and paid a year of mortgage payments. That's pretty influential for most people. Borrow that story until you have your own network marketing story, right? So if I were you guys, I would leverage all of the stories and success that you can all the time. I'll tell you, Mr. Dean Pellegrin that's on here is a master at leveraging credibility. He will leverage tools of credibility. He will leverage any type of credibility, whether it's a person, you know, or whatever. He's good at leveraging credibility to get to amplify his influence. So credibility will amplify your influence. So you're not building someone up. Like when you're doing a three-way call and you're edifying the expert that's doing the three-way call, it's not to make that person feel good about themselves. It's to make your prospect on the phone want to listen to them because they're a guru. You just painted them as a guru, a successful guru, right? So that's the reason for the edification. So
Let me add to that, Bill. So, correct edifications, meaning the ones that are going to get the response you're looking for, do not include, hey, meet Lori. She's a great friend of mine. She's so sweet. She has the biggest heart. She's a businesswoman. Lori, meet Kelly, and then hand it over. Because Kelly, at the end of the day, may want to know how big this is. People respond off of bios and resumes and kudos. That's why so many people look at the two letters before somebody's name, right? Doctor or PhD or whatever it may be. In that case, CEO, right? Whatever it may be gets their attention. So utilize the bullet points. If there's somebody you know that has a great story and resonates with you, reach out to them, ask them if they can put together a brief bio so that when you introduce them professionally. Nobody cares if I'm nice, have I that I have a good heart, that we've been friends for 10 years, or that we have 7 French bulldogs. They just don't. This is not something initially that catches somebody's attention. They'll get to know us down the road, but things to think about is
right.
going at this professionally.
Let me frame that in another from another angle. So while they may, because they're a brand new prospect and they're just meeting us, they may not care about those personal things. You know what they do care about? They care that the people we've helped on our team have made $100 million in commissions. That's what they care about, because what does that do to their psychology? It helps them future vision themselves benefiting from what it is you're introducing them to. Do you guys see that difference in
Yep.
someone who's nice and sweet, introducing someone who's nice, sweet, has a great heart, and 7 French bulldogs? Or, hey, this is my friend Cynthia. She's an absolute dominator in this space. She's helped her team make 100 million in commissions, and I know she can help you too. Which one
Yes.
works better on your prospect?
Exactly. And I want to use the example of Annie. Annie is somebody that has shared her testimony, financial success here, paying her mortgage for
Fire.
12 years. For 12 months, she actually has 2 mortgages. She shared that openly. So I'm going to share that. I hope you don't mind, Annie. And she was able to do that in the first 9 months in this company.
Huge, huge.
Another huge. Another factor with Annie is that she had 3 jobs, 7 adopted kids, and a husband that was always working in the mines. Felt like a um a single parent, but she turned those 3 jobs into a full time income with network marketing back in 2009, 2010, and 2011. So obviously she knows what she's doing. She's doing it again, but she's doing it even bigger. And then you give it over to Annie, and Annie will give the kudos to the company, the team, the support. We always need to create the big picture here of layer upon layer of success, layer upon layer of this being big, layer upon layer of it being an answer for them for a better life.
Yep, yep. So I think that we've done an excellent job of framing number 7, social proof. I want to just go over this example real quick. You share a story about a single dad who replaced his income in 6 months. That's very similar to Annie paid a year of mortgages in her first 9 months in this network marketing business. She paid a year of mortgage payments. That's huge. And what this means is when your prospects hearing that, they're leaning in because they can now see themselves in that story. Facts tell, stories sell, remember? And then how to use this, weave in real life stories, testimonials, screenshots, leverage other people's stories, borrow other people's success, right? Um, there it is, right there at the bottom. One of our team members just paid a year of mortgage payments working a few hours a night while raising 3 kids. Okay. Okie dokie. We're going to recap now. The 7 invisible forces. You guys drop some hearts in the chat box there if you're loving this. I mean, this is good stuff, you guys. Even if you knew it before, is it not amazing to refresh the awareness of all of this? Isn't it good to feel aware and have intent, be intentional when we're building our network marketing business? Because I think, even with the experience that Cynthia and I have, even with the success we've had, the more we look at this, the more we read it, the more we talk about it, the absolute more that oh, Jeff dropped a red shoe in the okay, dancer man. The more we're aware and the more intent we have, the better we're going to apply all this and the more success we're going to have. And then the more money we're going to have, and then the more money we have, the more freedom we have, and the more choice we have, and the more we can tell the people that we don't want to spend time with the things we really want to say to them, right?
You know what? This is where I want to say, let there be no bar that holds you back from everything you want here financially. Not only can you get it, but the more you have, this comes from Bruce Vandenberg. My dad taught me early on, there is no shame about money. The more you have, the more you can give.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are these 7 invisible psychological barriers working against us or for us, depending on how we manage them, how we apply intent? Pain, greater pain is a greater motivator than pleasure. We're wired to avoid loss. So FOMO moves us. Belonging and identity will move people to do things they wouldn't normally do. Being able to craft a future vision of benefit for themselves, certainty versus uncertainty, reciprocal and micro commitments, social proof and authority. So that's those 7 invisible forces that we need to work around because, like I said, master human psychology, you win network marketing. So here's the deal. When you understand these emotional drivers, you're going to stop convincing people with facts. You're going to stop telling people stuff. You're going to stop convincing people and you're going to start using questions to help them self-discover. You guys understand where I'm going with this? I hope this is resonating. I hope it's making sense to you. And that's what these magnetic conversations are all about. So next, we're going to unpack how to ask the right questions at the right time using magnetic conversations framework. Let's take a look at what this looks like. I've pulled up, I pre-selected. Let me get this out from behind all these screens now because I got a bunch of stuff here in my way. I think I'm gonna have to minimize that. I need a I need a bigger screen, babe. I need like a 40-inch screen. Anybody ever feel like that? They need a 40-inch screen. All right, so we are going to
Everybody that has gained a nugget, a golden nugget already from this training, give some exclamation points in the chat, please. Bill, you're bringing it. This
thank
is
you, baby.
awesome. I'm taking
You
notes too.
You too. Well, I mean, it's amazing that we have this recording,
Thank you, Austin.
right? I think it,
Roland.
I think it's just incredible that we have this recording and that we're going to be able to refer back to this and that we're going to be armed with this ebook that's really not an ebook. It's really a execution tactical strategy guide that we can refer to every single day. So when you put all this together, I think it's an incredible tool that we never had in network marketing. Boy, could you imagine what could we have done, babe, if we'd had this information 15 years ago?
Oh my
Not
gosh.
have to piece it together
Right.
over 15 years, right?
Mm.
I think a lot of this we just learned over time without even realizing we were learning it. So,
Well, we made a lot of mistakes along the way that created the awareness that we are now passing along to all of you. So, like great parents, you want your children to learn from your mistakes so they don't have to go through the pain and suffering that you went through. And we definitely made our share of flubs, you guys. So we want to give you that runway. And that's exactly what Bill's bringing today.
yes, yes. All right. So, chapter 4, this is question category 1. Remember, I said there's 6 categories. There's 100 questions in this book. They're spread across 6 categories. Category 1 is connection and trust building. The goal is to build instant emotional safety and spark curiosity. Okay. So, when do I use connection and trust building questions? At the start of every conversation, warm market, cold outreach, or referral. Okay. Key tonality for connection and trust building questions is calm, curious, neutral, no excitement, no pitch. Remember, we're disarming resistance and we're opening people up to the possibility that you are a trusted advisor, not a salesperson, right? So it opens your prospect up to truth telling. And then here's a duplication tip for you guys. And at the beginning, I'll just tell you, at the beginning of every chapter or every category of questions, it has this breakdown for each category. So you're going to get this explanation at the beginning of each category. So it's really fire. So you're going to want to refer back to this. But these questions are easiest for new reps to practice daily. So start here before sharing anything, right?
Now, I think something that's very valuable here, Bill, that everybody should write down is if you have heard it before, still write it down. The things you write down, you'll be 40% more successful writing down than leaving to your memory. And speak it every day. One of the things that's very powerful as Bill comes into this segment is feel, felt, found. You need to connect to somebody and let them know that that was something that you I I know the way that you feel because I felt that way too. And what I found was, okay, get really good with filling in the blanks there. It's a huge connector and a way to gain trust and really meet somebody where they're at. Again, it's not about you. You've already said yes. It's about them and finding what we can provide that will give value to their life.
Absolutely. More fire, baby. Just constantly bringing the heat. So, uh, pro tip, smile slightly while asking, even on voice notes. You'll be surprised how your energy comes across. And that's another big tip, you guys. Instead of sending someone a text message, try recording a little voice memo and shooting that over to them. You'll be amazed at how much more effective a voice memo is over a text message. Text messages get easily misinterpreted a lot, we've noticed. So
And
here,
and I'm sorry, Bill, I've
no,
just got
go
to add
for it.
this. And if you text somebody, how many texts do you get during the day? If you call them or you leave them a voice memo or a voice mail or leave a little video that you sent giving them the message of face to face, there's going to be urgency with that. They're going to want to know what's going on because that is not typical. The typical is to go the easiest route, just to text somebody and be relaxed, waiting for their response. With something like that, it creates urgency naturally. But if you're face to face, you want to smile. If you're leaving a message, leave it with a smile. Don't lay down on your bed and go, hey, there's something that I want you to take a look at. They can feel that there's no forward movement, no urgency in it.
That is Absolutely amazing advice right there. So one thing I want you to take note of here, tonality, right? We've got a tonality matrix in the appendix in the bonus section at the very back. You're going to definitely want to refer to that. But your tone, meaning how you deliver the information, the question, your responses, that's going to matter more than the actual words themselves, believe it or not. Because remember, in connection and trust building, what we're doing is trying to disarm, we're trying to lower that autopilot resistance, get rid of that, get that BS detector back towards zero, right? So on connection and trust building, I chose question number 1. Here we go. Keep it this simple, you guys, especially for beginners. Out of curiosity, what's your story? Do you see how easy that is to engage someone, make them feel heard, make them feel seen, disarm their defense mechanisms? Just ask them, what's your story? And if you already know their story, ask them something about their recent story. Like, tell me about what's happened in your career in the last year or two. Just modify the question slightly. If it's someone you intimately know, you know their life story. Maybe they told you their life story before. There's something about the last year or two about their life that you don't know, and you could ask them a question about to make them feel like they're heard and seen, and disarm them, right?
I I like some of the questions. I prompt these questions all the time, Bill. You hear me say things like this on three-way calls. Oh, wow. That's really awesome that you love your career. Now, I will say that they can say a couple of things and I'll have that response. Maybe they didn't say they really love their career, but maybe they said they're happy with their job.
Right.
And then I respond with, that's really awesome that you love your career. What do you love most about it? Because more times than not, people are going to discover that they're really not happy. They're just putting up with
Yeah.
what they've got to put up with.
Again, being aware and having intent, being intentional, right? So Cynthia's demonstrating there that she's aware and she has intent to help them discover what it is they really don't like about what they're saying they like, because they're not really telling you what they really feel, right? So asking the right questions, having the right conversation and the right tone creates that self discovery we're talking about. So, every question, all 100 questions, I want you to take note of this structure on this page right here, page 21. You'll see a strong response example, a weak and dismissive response example, and then how you could reframe the question, then a pro tip, then an expert breakdown, and then a field application example, and then common objections and handlings. Every question is structured exactly like this. Okay. And again, what did we say at the very beginning about these questions being scripts? Anybody? The scripts don't matter at all. They're not scripts. These questions are not scripts. These questions are examples, you guys, so that you can learn how to master the art of conversation, right? So no scripts. So let's go. Out of curiosity, what's your story? A strong response would be, honestly, it's been a journey. I started in corporate, but I've always felt called to do more impact, more freedom. So that person's telling you what it is that they would like to have or want or need, right? And then a weak dismissive response example would be nothing much, just doing the usual, just doing the thing, right? Do we hear that a lot from people? So, how could we reframe the question for a weak dismissive response? So, what if you said, if you had to pick one chapter of your life that shaped who you are today, which one stands out? Do you see how we're just trying to get them to engage in a conversation and tell us what it is they really want and desire? Do you guys see what we're doing here? they're not going to see it. They're just going to think that you're interested in them, right? This is part of having influence. So now you understand why we spent so much time on human psychology at the beginning of the masterclass, right? Because if we didn't do that on the front side, these questions, this page 21 wouldn't make nearly as much sense because we wouldn't understand the psychology, right? So here's a pro tip. Be genuinely curious. Your tone should say, I care about who you are. I'm not checking a box, right? So that's why tonality matters so much. You want them to feel like you genuinely care. Expert breakdown. This question builds instant emotional safety. People open up when they feel seen and heard, not evaluated. You see the difference? And then here's a field application. Use this early in casual chats, DMs, Zooms, or in-person meetups to shift the dynamic from pitch to partnership. So here's where I want to take a little pause. Shift the dynamic from pitch to partnership. Remember when I talked about sales breath earlier? And then I talked about actually becoming a trusted advisor. Do you see how the role flips from salesperson to trusted advisor? How it's no longer a pitch to your prospect. Your prospect's not feeling pitched because you're asking them about them. And what are you doing in asking them? You're doing two things when you ask them these questions. One is you're learning about what it is they desire, want, and need, and they are self-discovering what it is they want, desire, and need. They're triggering their subconscious. Do y'all see how powerful that is? And then here's some common objections and how to handle them. Objection would be, oh, I'm not that interesting, right? And then here's how you would handle someone who objects with, I'm not that interesting. Hey, I think everyone's got gold in their story and I'd love to hear yours, right? Or some version of that. Again, like if you know someone really well. And then we're going to jump ahead to problem awareness category. And we're going to go to question number 22. So I believe this connection and trust building. Let me find it.
So while you're pulling that up, Bill, I want to give everybody a statistic that maybe you are or maybe you are not aware of. Do you realize that there's been a massive and profound transformation over the last 5 years when it comes to the habits that people now have in regards to them evaluating what they are willing to do and what they want to do for income? Meaning, you have 32.6 million Americans in 2025 that work remotely. That is 22 point whatever percentile that is of the United States of America. Is this trending? Do we have an offer here? Do you know certain stats like that that can empower you to realize what you have that is of value to offer people? Are the majority of people now looking for what we have, either working remotely or residual income or the ability to work from wherever they happen to be? I guess that's the same as remotely, but you see where I'm going with that. So I just wanted to add that stat in while you were looking, Bill.
That's perfect. I appreciate that. All right. So now we're on chapter 5, which is this is question category number 2. And question category number 2, you will remember, is problem awareness. So again, at the beginning of each category of questions, you're going to get this breakdown. So the goal of problem awareness is to help the prospect self-discover what isn't working in their current life, work, health, right? When do we use problem awareness questions? After you've built some rapport with them. So comes after you've made a connection, you've gotten in that trusted advisor role, right? And then key tonality would still be calm and curious, right? So ask as if you're helping them explore, not proving a point. We're not trying to prove a point.
Bill, somebody's saying that their screen is not clear. Can we get a couple of individuals that, oh, there's a couple of people saying they can't read it.
Interesting. Okay, let me work on it for a sec. Give me
Okay, other people are saying theirs is clear. It's minimalized or minimized just so we can make sure everybody can see what Bill is showing right now.
is that a good view? How's that look to everybody? Clear in Tucson, better, yes. Mine's good. It's back. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're on to chapter 5, which is question category 2 and problem awareness. So we're talking about when to use this and what kind of tonality to use and what is the outcome that we want. The outcome is that they begin to connect emotionally to the gap, right? What is the gap? The gap is the difference between where they're at and where they really want to be, need to change, right? And they may even start selling themselves at this point. So we're only 2 categories in. We've made a connection. We've started building trust. We've shifted from sales pitch to trusted advisor. And now we're into problem awareness with people. And we already have them to the point where they're starting to self-sell themselves, right? Duplication tip, role play these questions inside your team. Avoid jumping to solutions too quickly. Here's a pro tip. Ask one, then pause. Let silence do the heavy lifting. You guys, silence is your friend. I know you don't think it's your friend, but if you will wait, whoever talks first loses. I'm just going to tell you that. I took a very expensive negotiating class. I bet Jeff's heard of this. Chester Karras, the Karras School of Negotiating. It's in all the magazines in the back seat of the airplane. I had one of the companies I worked for early in my career. I think I was 31 years old, and I had them pay like $5,000 for me to go to Las Vegas to take a 3-day negotiating course, and it was awesome. I mean, it was absolutely awesome. I was so glad that I did that so early in my career. It's very beneficial. A lot of it is translated here in this master class that we're all experiencing right now. But I can tell you right now, don't be afraid of silence. So back to what I was pointing out. Silence can be your friend. You need to use the silence properly. You need to give people, sometimes they just need time to process things, and sometimes they're afraid to respond. But if you give them enough time, that the pause, the silence will get, the silence will get Jeff said that's like that's like 5 million in today's money. Right? 5,000 back then, that was a while ago. So the silence, it will get awkward for your prospect too, and they'll start singing. I promise. You watch, just try it out. So there is a cross category cheat sheet in the back in the bonus section. I want to remind you of that. But now we're going to zoom forward to question number 22. We're almost there. I hope you guys like how this is structured. Why is it not moving forward for me? There we go. Question 22. Wasn't jumping pages. All right. I hope you guys like how this is laid out, because a lot of thought and energy went into how to structure this so it could be not just readable, not just consumable, but be an executable tool, right? Because it doesn't do any good. Like, drives me crazy for people to read book after book after book, but then not have any way of applying that really. So we wanted this to be executable. So question number 22, this is problem awareness. What's one thing you've been tolerating that deep down you know needs to change, right?
Mm.
And think about how that could be, how you could modify that question a little bit, because that could be tweaked all kinds of ways to find out, to create that self-discovery, right? Um, strong response to what's one thing you've been tolerating. You could just stop right there. Hey, Austin, what's one thing you've been tolerating lately? And you could just stop right there and wait for an answer. And Austin will start telling me the things that are his pain points. You
You
ask
know
that
what?
kind of question, they're going to tell you their pain.
Why don't we get everybody while they're listening? I don't want to get everybody distracted, but what is something you've been tolerating lately that you would like to not be in your way any longer? What's something that you've been tolerating lately?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Hmm.
Isn't that applicable? Can you not? I bet you cannot wait to drop that question on a prospect next, right? You're probably like, oh man, I can't wait to drop this one tomorrow.
Oh, Jeff
What's
said
one thing you've
son-in-law.
been tolerating, right?
Oh, help.
Another
We
way to frame this is what's one thing you've been tolerating, right? And a little sub question with that could be what's one thing you've been tolerating and how would your life be different if you didn't have to tolerate it? Boom, drop the mic right there. That's power, you guys. That's
Jack,
power.
Jackie said clients canceling. Rick said negative um responses. Sue said that one too. Lack of enough time with my kids is Kelly, I believe. Jeff said son-in-law. I don't know if we can help with that one. Roland said my job.
Yeah. That's going to be a lot of people are going to have all of these same things that you've been tolerating. They're going to have the same tolerance pain points, right?
Donna said her lack of knowing people. She wants to increase her database with that question, or she feels like a lot of people have finally started to reveal themselves to her, one or the other. We can help
Right.
you with the database.
Perfect. All right. So
Mm.
a strong response would be my job. It's draining, but I just keep justifying staying for the paycheck, right? We get stuck. A lot of us, many people have experienced being stuck on the hamster wheel. Have you ever been stuck on the hamster wheel and you know that there's a better way and you just got to get off of it? Lots and lots and lots of people have felt that way. So now that we're aware of what some of these pain points are, and now that we know how to pull pain points out of people, right? So that we can help them self discover and that they can proclaim to us, they can reveal to us what their pain points are, then we can help them move towards partnering up with us. Y'all
You
see
know
how
what's
influential, how this is influential instead of salesy? See
you
the
know what's You know, it's awesome, Bill. Sue Ontiveros just said that she feels stuck on that hamster wheel right now. So she's a perfect example of a professional, owns her own business, has been doing extremely well with it for the last 19 years. But through someone else's eyes, she wouldn't be looking for anything else. She would be set. She doesn't need for anything else except for that conversation, that question we just posed, right? Which is the perfect example, just showed us that she's tired of being on that hamster wheel. So, what gets you off the hamster wheel is change. And change comes from you making change. And Sue is here for big goals. She's been in network marketing before and she's worked with us before. So she knows what's coming. But what a great, candid, honest response. And that's what you want. And you get that through gaining trust from somebody.
Yep. And here's Jackie sharing some of her pain points and why she's fired up about residual income. She's got clients passing away, which that impacts her business financially. And I'm sure it's emotionally draining to have your clients passing away. And then clients not being loyal in today's world, right? So lack of loyalty. Again, that impacts her business negatively in a financial way. Um, Clients don't respect the cost, right? They have no idea how much my business costs and the products. So Wouldn't it be amazing, Jackie, to have pay all your bills, have your commission check, hit your bank, pay all your bills, and have $90,000 left over to do whatever you want with, invest, and take the family on a vacation? Would that be amazing? So I'm just guessing, Jackie, that that might be the reason that you're doing network marketing, but that's just a guess. I'm not psychic or anything. It's just a guess. All right. So I went through the strong response, a weak response. I guess, what's one thing you've been tolerating? I guess a few things, but it's fine. You know how people are dismissive. How could we reframe that weak response with another question to pull them back in? So even if it feels normal, is there anything you've quietly accepted that maybe doesn't serve you anymore? Or I, I get that it's fine and you just kind of tolerate it, but is there anything that is not serving you well anymore, right? Or, reframe that question. There's a million ways you could reframe that question to pull them back into the mix. You guys seeing that? Because like I said, I think this is a perfect example on this reframing the question of why this is not a script. Why these questions or why the information in this book is not scripts. These aren't scripts. These are guides to help you learn and discover how to master the art of conversations. Okay. So you can reframe that a million different ways. That'd be a great homework for you guys, is to look at the context of these 100 questions, pick one or two, look at the reframe question, and then go, you know what? I could say it better, more naturally, and be myself if I said that, if I reframe the question like this.
So I want to use Austin as an example because he and I have been talking over the last couple of weeks, and he mentioned something to me that is a great question to pose to people. He said, "That's awesome that you were on the Zoom. What did you like most about it?" That is a positive question. He's not asking them, "Did you like anything about the Zoom?" He said, "What did you like most about it?" That is already posing the question in a way that makes a person look for what they liked most. It's also a very positive
Yeah.
stance that Austin had, a conviction, a energy of excitement that it translates to somebody else and gives them hope.
Um, I've just got some weird stuff popping up. Sorry. So babe, that's fire right there. That's great. I think one of the worst I think we've got to be aware and have intent when we ask questions. And I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by that. I'm going to give you a real life example. One of the worst questions I've ever heard anyone ask someone in network marketing is they will share a video tool or a Zoom presentation or event with someone, and they'll call them back. And you know what that question is? What do you think?
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, what do you think? No, that's the dumbest question in the world. Every negative thought or connotation that they can drum up in their skeptical mind is going to come at you. And then you're
Mhm.
going to have to deal with that and field that and catch that. So Cynthia's example of what did you like best is so fire. That's so good, because the skeptic and the complainer has a really hard time um, machine gunning you with negativity when you say, what did you like best? Right? It's a much better way to frame.
That was an actual example from Austin Hayes that's on.
I love it.
So I wanted to give him credit for that. Way to go, Austin.
Sue says, yep, I use it with every Zoom invite. It's great. So, so here's a pro tip on this problem awareness question, and it's ask with care, because this one might land deeper than expected. So stay
Mhm.
soft and grounded, because this could really hit a nerve with someone, right? What's something you've been tolerating? Like you saw, look in the chat with Jackie. This one hit her hard. Like this one hit deep for Jackie. That can absolutely happen with you with some of your prospects. So that pro tip is profound. Expert breakdown. This reveals emotional anchors that are keeping people stuck. You guys need to discover what are these anchors that are keeping people stuck and help them become aware of them and help them become help with that self-discovery so they can move on and get unstuck, right? It gently creates tension without judgment. So you're just in a discovery advisor role with them. You're a trusted advisor. So they're not going to feel like you're selling them, pushing them, trying to convince them when you're leveraging these techniques. Field application example, use when someone's energy feels flat or they've admitted to settling. Is that good? Is that good information to know when to use these questions? It's not just what are some questions we could ask people. It's what are some questions we could ask? What's a good response? What's a weak response? How could we reframe the question for a weak response? What's a pro tip? um, what does this kind of questioning really mean with the expert breakdown? And then what's a field application example? Use when someone's energy feels flat. So when you're experiencing flat energy from someone, this could be a perfect way to move them through the process and get those micro yeses. So what's a common objection is I just deal with it, right? We've all heard that from people. And then here's a way to handle that objection. Totally, but what if dealing with it has become a habit and not a choice?
Mhm.
Whoa. Is that a self-discovery question or what? I'm going to repeat that. I just deal with it. And your response is totally, I get that. But what if dealing with it just become a habit and not a choice? Wow, that could really help someone self-discover, right? That,
Let me
that that's
let,
fire.
let me add in that that's such fire. And I want to say that people are going to forget what you say, but they will never forget the way you make them feel. This is
Boom. Absolutely. All right. I am going to move to category 3, which is solution fit and vision building. And we're going to go to question 32. So we're progressing through the chain here. Let me try to find question 32.
it does not feel that it's already been 2.5 hours almost.
Right? The time is flying by. But look, you guys, we're not going to stop until we're done. If some of you guys have to drop off, if we roll past 3 hours and you have to drop off, then you just have to drop off. Hopefully you don't. But worst case, you can come back and review the recording. We're going to be delivering the recording in a vault that you guys can all access and you'll have your own login. I just got to work with Dylan to finalize some of that with him tomorrow so that
Please let everybody know the difference between the VIP students and the other
yeah,
students.
yeah. So the standard master class is 30-day access to the vault. And the VIP experience includes lifetime access to the vault, all future updates to the training materials, all future recordings. It includes monthly uh, brainstorming and training masterclass sessions where we're going to circle back around. We're going to all work together. We're going to talk about what's working, how we've applied this and how it turned out. So we're going to hear some real life experiences with it. And then the masterclass VIP are all inner circle members, and they will they'll get special invites to special things. I'll just say that. So Sue said, can people upgrade? We will take that under consideration. We'll communicate with there was only literally a handful of people who didn't buy the VIP. So I think everyone's in pretty good shape. But those couple of people, if they want to upgrade, then we'll probably make that accessible to them so that they can get the next. We're going to do this for 90 days. We're going to do a 1 hour session every month for 90 days. and we're going to circle back around on this stuff, and we're going to just get better and better and better together. Okay. So, category 3, we're on to solution fit and vision building. Let's see. That's question 31, and we're going to go to 32. So, okay, so we're in good shape. Solution fit and vision building. The goal is to show what's possible without pressure. The goal is to show what's possible without pressure. When are we going to use solution fit and vision building questions? We're going to use it after they've named a pain or frustration. Did we just pull pain out of people and frustration out of people with that problem awareness question that we just went over? So now we just pulled some pain out. They just identified to us what their pain point or their frustration is, and now we're going to use that to connect to future vision for their life, right? Key tonality is empathetic and positive, but still grounded, not hypey, right? It's alignment with where they're at.
Now, I think it's important that everybody realize, and I'm sure you did, but in case this is not something we pulled off of the internet, you guys. This is training directly from Bill and I, our experience, things that we could draw from that show a trend, that show definite results that are going to give you the edge. So this is from our direct experience.
Yeah, so this is available nowhere else on planet Earth that I'm aware of. If it is, I'd love to know, because I would have loved to have had this 15 years ago. Yeah, this is hundreds of hours of research and development went into this course. All right, outcome: prospect begins to see themselves winning inside your offer or inside your, when I say offer, it just might be an offer to lock arms with us and build a team together and go win together, right? It might not be a specific offer to buy something, to buy in, to join. When you hear the word offer, think link arms in network marketing. Think join forces, right? Think join the movement. Integrate with the movement. Think partner, right?
There's two biggest motivators in somebody saying yes to network marketing. Okay. Probably this applies to most everything in life: desperation or motivation. So you've got to be able to give them one or the other or both.
Yep. So here's a duplication tip. Tie their answers back to your product, system, team without overselling, right? So this is where you're starting to tie everything back together. Pro tip: ask vision questions before you ever share compensation. Because does the compensation plan even matter if they don't see a vision for a future benefit for themselves? Like, why would the comp plan? You're out of order. You got the wagon in front of the horse if you're doing that. So let's go to question number 32 and see how we can apply solution fit and vision building. All right. Here's the question: if you knew success was 100% guaranteed, would you start today? Wow. Is that not powerful, you guys? If you knew, here's another way to say it. Hey, Rob, if you knew you couldn't fail, would you want to get started today? Do you see what asking a question like that? You've walked someone through you've connected, you've built rapport and trust with them. You've identified some problem, pain points, and frustrations. And now you just ask that person, if you couldn't fail, would you want to get started today? And a strong response would be, yeah, I'd start my own thing in a heartbeat. I've just been scared of failing. And here's a weak response: I don't know. I've just never thought about that. Right? How could we reframe it? Well, even a wild guess: what dream would be worth the leap if fear didn't exist?
That's awesome.
Again, like, if you knew you couldn't fail and there was no fear of failure, what dream would be worth the leap? Well, what does that look like for you? Does that mean like you can build a business anywhere you happen to be, no walls, no limits, from a cell phone? You can spend unlimited time with your family, your friends, your loved ones, right? You can do what you want when you want, as much as you want. wherever you want, whenever you want. Is it that kind of thing? And then pro tip, this vision building removes fear of the equation, use it to surface desire. So what we're trying to do now is we've moved them through trust building rapport. We moved them through problem awareness. We've found out some of their pain points and right some of their frustrations. And now we're moving them towards telling us we're trying to discover and help them discover what are their real desires. You see how we're
So
using this?
I'd like to add something there. Something that was very profound that was said to Bill and I, or said that I heard in network marketing, our first year, 2 years of network marketing, I'm sure it was the first year, is on the other side of fear, there is always freedom. So a lot of the reluctancy that people may have to jump in, get started, is not about the company, has nothing to do with you, has everything to do with them. Their fear of failure, their fear of ridicule if they don't make it work. So taking down their concerns and giving them a safe place, a clear path with teamwork, a support system, a duplication model, and keeping everything simplified is critical. And this is one of the reasons why when you do a three-way call with somebody, you basically say, thank you so much, Joe, for doing that call for me today. I know Annie has gained so much from hearing directly from you. We appreciate you. All right, Annie, this is what you do next. It's that safeguard knowing that their future is not in the hands of a big question mark.
Perfect. And so Rick dropped in the chat there. So we determine which is greater, fear or freedom. But this question, you guys, this solution fit and vision building question is designed to help them shift their focus from fear to vision of their future, and it reveals what truly matters underneath their hesitation. So see how this is going to start telling you the truth about what it is that they're hesitant about. Why are they not saying yes already? You're going to discover it with these questions. You're going to find out what that underlying truth is by leveraging these strategies. You guys see how this is going to work? And then here's a field application example used with dreamers or anyone stuck in analysis paralysis. Anybody know people who get paralysis by analysis? Lots of people do that. Lots and lots of people. This is a way to help them get unstuck from that. Here's objection handling. Objection would be that's not realistic, and here's how you handle that. Totally fair, but sometimes playing with that idea shows what we actually care about most. So again, discovering what it is that they care. Do they care more about fear or freedom? Right. And so Sue said, working with one now that has paralysis by analysis. So, Sue, you're going to be able to deploy some of the strategies in this guide to help unlock that person, help them get unstuck from that analysis. Because what you've got to do is go through this process and you've got to help them self discover what it is that's really getting them stuck. What you think they're stuck on probably isn't why they're stuck at all. So now we're going to move on to the next category, which is number 4, emotional consequences and urgency. So let me go find that.
Well, you're focused on the urgency, and I love that word urgency because
I know you love speed.
I do. Success loves speed is a true statement, and all of the most successful people in the world say that. And there's a reason for that because of that paralysis by analysis and because people are attracted to a fire. They don't want to be a part of something that looks heavy, that looks like it takes a lot of effort, will be slow in moving. Urgency creates a lot of belief in and of itself, because with urgency will come rank advancements, checks. There will be stories. Stories are definitely the selling point of this industry, you guys. So take all of that in mind.
Fire. So I want to take a little pause right here before we go into question category number 4. And I just want you guys to, I want to elevate the awareness again. What is the awareness? The awareness is the question categories. I want you to see the progression from category 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, where we're at right now. One is we made a connection, we built some trust, we established a rapport, right? 2 is we identified a problem awareness. So we identified some pain points and some of frustrations. 3 is we started vision building for them. And now 4, we're going to start emotionally helping them identify consequences and the urgency that is going to be required to prevent those consequences. Do you see the progression and the strategy of why we have 6 categories of questions and how we go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, how they go in order? I want you guys to just be aware of that because it's super important in the structure of this guide and how to use it, how it works. So with emotional consequence and urgency, the goal is to reveal what's truly at stake if they stay stuck. Okay. Again, we're going to help them self-identify that. We're not going to tell them. We're not going to explain it to them. We're going to have them explain it to us because we're going to ask them the right questions in the right tone at the right time to get them to tell us. Okay. And then when do we use this? After they've shown interest or hope, right? And then we're going to show them the contrast. Key tonality is slower pace, lower pitch, deliver with empathy, not manipulation. They need to feel that they need to feel this. This is going to be a very emotional set of questioning because there's consequences related to it, right? And then the outcome is that the prospect feels the emotional cost of doing nothing. This is a big one for you, Dean. You've expressed this in the past that I think I think it was the men's call we did where when I said, what's the true cost of staying where you are? That the prospect feels the emotional cost of not taking action or doing nothing. This is very powerful for people to self-reveal to themselves. So duplication tip, teach your team to ask these only after the vision is clear. So after we've done question category 3, vision building, is when you deploy these. And then pro tip is these are the most emotionally loaded questions. Use only one at a time. Okay. And then again, reference to the tonality. So we are going to go to question number 52, and it is emotional consequence and urgency category. What's more uncomfortable, staying where you are or trying something new? And what's another way you could say that to someone? What's more uncomfortable, staying where you are or giving it a shot?
Mhm.
Right? What if? What if you couldn't fail? What's more uncomfortable? Swinging that bat or staying where you are?
I think that's an important place for you to bring in feel, felt, found, or utilize the story of someone else in network marketing that you currently work with, that you've seen break through the barrier that has kept them in the cycle of pain and suffering. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable is a real thing. And being able to give people the clear view of what it could look like on the other side, the emotional connection that they have to that hope hopes and dreams alive is what gets people off of high center every time.
Yeah. So here's a strong response to what's more uncomfortable, staying where you are or trying something new. Uh, Here's strong response. Honestly, staying where I am, I'm over the same the same problems every month. People might say I'm completely over facing the same problems every month. I'm over having too much month left at the end of the money, right?
Yep.
Or I'm over working from dark to dark and not having time with my family. I'm over missing special events with my family, right? So they're going to tell you, here's something weak when someone's trying to dismiss you. Um, what's more uncomfortable, staying where you are or trying something new? Here's a weak response. Trying something new, at least I know what I'm dealing with now, right? And how could you reframe that? Even just your gut, which one feels heavier right now?
Mm-hmm.
Staying where you are or trying something new? Which one feels heavier? Right. And a pro tip would be ask this slowly. Let them answer from feeling, not logic. You see, when you slow down the pace, they have to process how they feel. Their logic, especially in a man, will pop up real quick and they'll want to throw back like a dismissive response. But when you slow the pace down, they'll have to feel it. And
I
then
like
go for
I
it.
I'm sorry. I like to ask somebody what would their perfect life look like 5 years from now?
Yeah.
If they could start laying down the path to that perfect life 5 years from now, if they could move forward and there's no barrier of time or money, because that's always the barrier, what does their life look like? And then I go back with the question, so if you do nothing, what does your life look like 5 years from now?
Yep. Perfect. That's a great example. And then here's an expert breakdown, and this kind of goes in line with what Rick was dropping in the chat about the risk pros and cons. And this balances risk versus regret. So when we help people self-discover that they might regret staying uncomfortable, right? Many prospects move when they realize discomfort isn't avoidable, it's just different. When you help them self discover that discomfort isn't avoidable in what they're doing right now, remember what we said at the beginning in psychology? We will do more to avoid or get out of pain than we will to get pleasure. This ties in with that perfectly. And then here's a field application example. Use mid conversation when someone is hesitating between familiar pain and unknown potential. And then here's a common objection. I'm not ready for either. And then here's a way to handle that. Fair, but if staying and starting are both hard, which one could lead someone could lead somewhere better? Which one could lead you somewhere better? Staying or starting, right? So again, it's just helping people become self-aware and they'll self-sell themselves, they'll self-commit. So now we're moving on to commitment and action activation. I know you like that one, babe. Action activation. All right, I'm gonna move. Let me go find that.
I know there is absolutely nothing better than action to get results. Am I right or am I right? Without action,
Nothing
does
happened.
anything does anything change for the better anyway?
Definitely.
Without action, things can change, but definitely getting worse, moving backwards, or stagnant, right? Action is the key.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so we're on chapter 8. We're on page 97 already. Question category 5, commitment and action activation. The goal is to turn belief into bold, simple action. Simple being the key, right? And then when do we use this? After they've seen what's possible and expressed desire. Key tonality is now shifting to confident, grounded, but still not pushy. and not too excited. You can be a little excited here, but you don't want to be come across too excited, because then you're going to start triggering their self-defense mechanism. Oh, why are they getting so excited? Is it that they really do want to sell me something and they're trying to gain off of me? No, you want to stay in that trusted advisor status in their mind, right? So, what's the outcome? They give themselves permission to move and they feel proud doing it. And then here's a duplication tip for you. New reps can use these to help prospects commit without needing to close, right? To hard close. And then pro tip would be, ask these even if someone says, I need to think about it, because action can start small. So we are going to jump to question number 73 for this category. And again, the category is commitment and action activation. What's one commitment you can make to yourself right now, even if it's tiny? Imagine asking someone that. You've moved them through the progression, category 1, 2, 3, 4, and now you've just said to them, what's one commitment you can make to yourself right now, even if it's teeny tiny, right? Because they're going to tell you where they're at. This is really good, you guys. So strong response would be that I'll stop taking myself out of trying and just message 3 people today, right? So this could be that strong response might be you're talking to one of your business partners, right? It could be a prospect you're talking to, and they could go, I should stop talking myself out of doing this. I already know who I want to talk to, and I just need to get the message out to help me get the message out to 3 people today, right? And here's weak. I don't know, maybe I'll think about something, and how could we reframe that to get them back on track? Well, even tiny, what's one thing you'd feel proud of doing by the end of the day today? Just something tiny to move you forward. Because staying stuck's not an option. So what's something tiny you could feel proud of if you did it by the end of the day? And then pro tip, keep it light. Micro commitments. Remember, micro yeses lead to a big yes. Build trust. Those micro commitments build trust and identity. So put you in that trusted advisor role again. And then small actions create motion and anchor belief. This builds the proof that they need to follow through. Okay. And then
Yoda said it, Bill. Yoda. Hello, everybody. Yoda.
testify.
You've seen Star Wars, right? Yoda, that little guy with the big ears that's so smart and wise. He may look a little funny, but he always made you stop and say, oh my gosh, how profound. He said there is no try, there is only do or do not. So
Yep.
ask yourself first that question: what are you doing? Where is the action? Is it revenue generating? And you need to lead by example. You can never ask anybody to do what you're not willing to do. So those associates you bring into the company, those people looking to you for guidance, that call to action starts at the very beginning when you simply say, after the super Zoom or a 3-way call, that was incredible what you just heard. I know your mind was absolutely blown. This is what you do next, or this is
Perfect.
what we do next.
Perfect. So when would we use a commitment and action activation question, right? So we would use it at the end of a conversation to create immediate action. So you know how you can kind of feel if it's going your way or not? This could be a way to tip it in your favor. And then here's an objection. I don't know what to commit to. And here's a way to handle that. Totally fair. But if you had to pick just one small, teeny tiny step today, what would it be? Basically the same as the reframe question, but powerful, you guys. Now, here's where we're moving after this, you guys. We're moving into leadership, identity, and duplication strategies with the same psychology, right? So this is some ways that you can amplify duplication and identify leadership within your team. So let me get to that category.
Leadership, while you're looking
Category
that
six.
up, is key, everybody. You may not feel that you have that title of leader yet, but out of the gate, you're setting the pace. You need to be the leader that you want to find. You will not attract somebody that you're not willing to represent or be in your actions.
Perfecto. Um, this category of questions, leadership, identity, and duplication, this is where we've now shifted away from prospecting and building the business from a trusted three-way call advisor, a presenter, to prospects. Now we're talking about actually, this is where the meat and potatoes are at. Remember when I said at the beginning, it does not matter what works for you, it only matters what duplicates. This is where it goes, because if you don't develop a team and create duplication, you're going to always be 100% of your own efforts. And remember what we said? We'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of our own efforts. So this is where we make that shift. Okay. So the goal here is to shift identity from follower to builder. This is for your business partners. This is for associates. When do we use this? We use it during onboarding. We use it in team Zooms or after someone says yes, right? Key tonality is uplifting, calm, affirming. The outcome is the prospect, if they've not jumped in yet, but they're ready to start, right? So this would only be for a prospect that's getting started. You're onboarding them. They begin to see themselves as someone others want to follow. So with that word prospect, this is where the prospect or associate slash business partner begins to see themselves as someone others want to follow. Duplication tip. These are the foundation of culture. Use them on team welcome calls, etc. Use if someone followed your example as a duplication reframe, right? So we are going to jump to question number 98 of this category.
While you're doing that, Bill, think about it, you guys. You're lost. You're in a forest. You don't know where the exit is. Nobody knows the way, but somebody stands up and says, I'm pretty sure. And you know there's bear and mountain lion. And somebody says, I'm pretty sure if we go this way, we'll probably at least come across some water to get us through the night. And then somebody else stands up and says, I know exactly where I am. I recognize that tree that we just passed. Follow me, and we'll be out of here in an hour and a half. Who are you going to follow? Are you
Boom.
that leader? And if you are, and you know why you're here, and you know where you're going, whether they say yes or not, they need to hear that from you to gain the trust in you being able to get them where they want to be. All right.
Fire. That is amazing example. Thanks so much, babes. All right. So leadership identity and duplication category question number 98. If someone followed your example starting today, where would you lead them? Right? A strong response I would lead them toward believing in themselves and building freedom. Right? Remember selling the hopes and dreams alive, selling the dream. Did this say anything about I would lead them towards believing in the product, right? Or I would lead them towards using the products to get clearer skin or whatever. That's not what it said. I'd lead them toward believing in themselves and building freedom. And then if they had a weak response, someone might say they probably wouldn't get very far with me. And then how would you get that person back on track? You got a business partner that obviously lacks confidence, and you need them to become a leader so they can duplicate, so you can get to that 1% of 100 people's efforts. You would reframe that weak response with even small steps. Okay. Even if they're teeny tiny small steps, what positive path would you show them? Make them come up with something, you guys. Demonstrate to them that even if it's small, that they can come up with an idea that would be valuable to someone moving forward. And then here's a pro tip, make leadership feel accessible, not intimidating. I think Cynthia and I do a pretty good job of leading by example in that regard. We tend to be accessible and non-intimidating and teach in a way that is relatable and executable. Expert breakdown, prospects step into leadership faster when they realize it's simply about setting positive examples. Okay. And then field application example used in leadership development conversations after onboarding. Here's an objection. I'm not ready to lead anyone, and here's a way to handle that. Fair, but leadership is just about moving one step ahead and helping others do the same. Do
Let me
y'all
give
hear
it,
how profound that is?
say that again, Bill.
Fair, but leadership is just about moving one step ahead and helping others do the same. So if you can get one step ahead of your business partner, of your associate, and then turn around and show them how to gain that one step to catch up with where you're at, that is powerful.
It's very powerful. And there's some little crumbs that I want to give, some little tips, food for thought that I want to give each of you is this. When I find somebody that is overthinking what this could be, what this could take in the way of effort for them, I dumb it down, I simplify it, in always trying to frame it in a way that a high school student would say they could do it too. So, one of the things that I present is once you get your position in this company, you've got the ability, you've been given the reach to represent this incredible financial opportunity and technology. So let's just pose the question that you don't have immediate success. You keep doing what you're doing for a living. But in the meantime, you're inviting, introducing, following up, and promoting. And let's just say that over an hour and a half each day over the next year, you present this to 1,000 people. That's a lot. I've never seen it be 1,000 people before somebody comes up with 3 to 5 that also see the value in what you have with this financial opportunity and this technology or whatever it is that you're representing. But if it took that long for you to get that 3 to 5 and it turned into $10,000 to $20,000 a month, what would that look like for you? 20,000 a month residual that you don't have right now. What kind of choice would that give you? And if it does take a year, what else right now that could provide that for you faster? And if there's not an option, you have nothing to lose, everything to win.
All right, all right. We are coming up on we're at 8:58, so we are almost 3 hours in, and we've got a couple of more things to cover, but I think we're going to be pretty close to on time, babe. Is that a miracle or what?
Yes, keep going. Go, go, go.
Chapter 10, conclusion and 7-day action plan. So this is some homework for you guys. Uh, just in conclusion, some things that I want to highlight again is awareness, intent, trust over pressure, becoming a trusted advisor instead of a salesperson. That's now your new gold standard. Okay. So if you take nothing else from this masterclass, just know this: trust builds empires and pressure burns bridges, right? This goes back to what we were talking about with our friends. If we want to retain our friends after we've invited them, we should be the trusted advisor, not the salesperson. And then let's see. what we want to cover with our last couple of minutes, babe. So you're no longer pitching people, you're guiding them. That's back to the trusted advisor role. So when you lead with these magnetic conversations and questions, you're positioning yourself as a trusted advisor, a clarity creator, and a leader people want to follow. Okay. And then that identity that you create from these strategies will compound faster than any script that you've ever used or ever will use. 7-day action plan from reading to results. Knowledge is potential power. So now you guys have knowledge, right? Now you're aware. But if you want this to actually turn into dollars, you have to shift it, that knowledge, from potential power to actual power. And what causes actual power is applied knowledge. That's that action, remember? That's what builds the real results. So here's how to take immediate action. On day 1 to 2, repetition creates mastery. Pick 1 or 2 question categories to focus on. I would do them in order if I were you, because you saw that escalation. There's method to the madness of why we have 6 categories and why they're numbered 1 through 6 the way that they are. And here's the deal, you guys: read them out loud until they feel natural, right? They should feel natural. It should feel like your own. Reword them, make them fit you. You don't want to sound like a robot to anybody. And then practice your tone: calm, curious, detached, not salesy. And then on day 3 and 4, use the framework in real conversations. So I think if you feel confident, if you feel good about it, start using them right away. I wouldn't wait till day 3 or 4. But if you need a couple of days to study this information, if you need to practice, practice. Do you know where you're at in your journey, in your process with all this new information? It's a lot, you guys. It's a lot. Uh,
Rick said record yourself, and that's what you had mentioned earlier, and it's so powerful to hear your tone. And the more you practice, the more perfect you will be. Something that I want to add right here, Bill, and once you guys get really comfortable with these golden nuggets, this is a treasure trove of value that you've been given tonight, more ways than you probably even realize. Once you're selling as a network marketing professional, you're going to realize that you're getting paid for a social life. You're really going to start loving people again, because you're going to see that you have a gift to pay forward that can impact lives all around you. Not everyone. Some people will be left behind. Some people don't want what we have. Some people want to stay miserable. These are all realities, but a lot of people are looking for something better for them and their family, and you have it. And when you become a natural conductor of information and you let a conversation flow, you get paid for a social life. And I'll tell you what, there is no other industry like network marketing.
Truth, truth. All right. So on day 3 and 4, I want to just point out this one sentence to you guys right here. Don't sell. Instead, explore. Let the questions do the work, because people will tell you. Don't assume what their pain and frustration is. Ask them the appropriate questions in the right tone and let them tell you, and then move forward accordingly. Okay. And then day 5 and 6, reflect and refine. After every conversation, ask yourself, what question landed the best? Which one yielded the best results? Where did the prospect lean in or open up? So again, a lot of this is awareness, you guys, levels of awareness. When you become more and more aware, you'll get better and better at this. And then if the energy did dip, where did it dip? What do you think caused that? So use that feedback loop to refine how you flow going forward. And then day 7, teach one question to someone else. Wow. Again, duplication, you guys. pick one trust-based question from this guide, share it with someone on your team, explain the psychology, and ask them to use it today. So you guys, if you teach what you learned in this masterclass to many, many people, you'll be very, very wealthy. Go ahead, baby.
Now, I want to challenge all of you. Here's a call to action. I want to challenge all of you to get either Bill or I on a 3-way call with you over the next 10 days. Schedule us for a 3-way call and listen as we implement the things that we've been sharing with you tonight, and take your opportunity to implement some of the things that you've learned this evening in the way of creating urgency, listening to someone, edifying, all of the things that we've talked about. Because once you start putting those pieces together, I promise you, you start feeling unstoppable, and this becomes less of a area where you need to navigate, more of a treasure hunt for the next person that you can change their life for the better.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, did you guys know when you teach things that you master things faster? So I would certainly take the opportunity to teach these strategies to other people. The hidden multiplier, trust that duplicates. Day 7 continued. The real power of this guide isn't what you can do with it, it's what your team can do with it. So again, duplication. When your organizations learns to communicate with confidence, everything changes because they're going to stay longer. The leaders are going to grow faster. Burnout will disappear and belief will skyrocket because everyone's going to have more success, you guys. And then little final word from us. You can read that on your own. And then here's the 2 bonuses. What to ask and when. It's like a little cheat sheet, basically. So you can go through these. This will be some good homework for you.
Now, for each of you, as you go through this homework, the master class is going to be a continuum. You are the first class, literally, of our master class that will become an inner circle group of visionaries that will be meeting. One of the examples is Las Vegas for our global event in February. The masterclass VIPs inner circle group will be invited to a private dinner in Las Vegas. These conversations will always be next level, higher level. It will be next level celebrating life as well, but it will be all of us coming together for a mind a mindset of success. And
it's a brain trust.
Yeah,
it's a brain
that's what I was
trust community of high
That's
achievers.
what I was looking for.
You guys are literally in a high achiever community now.
Absolutely.
You didn't just get a master class. You didn't just get this guide. You didn't just get the recording of this video. You're literally in a high achiever brain trust community now.
This is perfect. Well, I think as we wrap up tonight, the challenge for all of you is to evaluate what you want out of this. Make your goals clear and then put them on the shelf and go out there and help as many other people as you can. See their hopes and dreams alive. Build that dream for them. Help them succeed. Plug them into the duplication model. The system needs to be simple always. The ultimate sophistication, Michelangelo said, is simplicity. So don't ever forget that. And know that you have immense support from the team, from the mentorship that you guys are all connected to now. And Bill and I are so very grateful for every single one of you, and we appreciate what you do, and we applaud all of your achievements and everybody that you're helping reach their dreams as well.
Awesome, awesome. I'm just reading all the messages in the chat, babe.
I'd like to take a moment and please make sure you don't get rid of those messages, Bill, before we shut everything off tonight. But I want to take a moment and thank all of you that have been interactive this evening. When you are interactive, it fuels Bill and I. The more you want, the more we're going to give. The more you ask, the more we have to pour into you. Because I can say this clearly, there's almost no question that trips me up anymore. But as soon as I say that, one of you are going to throw me a curveball. And if you do, that's okay, because that's where Bill and I grow. That's where we become better as leaders and mentors. And we're always striving to do that. So challenge us. We're going to challenge you. And we're all going to celebrate a lot of life along the way. Believe me. So, for everybody that's joined in, if you're a VIP, be looking for the additional information in the upcoming trainings that we're going to be having. If you haven't enrolled at that level, and like Bill said, I think there were simply like 2 or 3 that didn't, then we are going to give that one-time offer, because we don't want you to miss out on that inner circle community moving forward that literally will make you unstoppable and limitless when it comes to what you want to achieve in the industry of network marketing. I also want to thank you, Bill. Amazing. All the work and effort you put in, all of the visuals, the workbook, everything that's being provided to all of the masterclass students, our proteges, our interns, however you want to look at it, you guys. We are here to help you achieve what we've achieved. We can get you where we've already been. And believe me, our goals are even a lot bigger here, but it doesn't happen without a lot of effort behind the scenes. And I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity to thank Bill for everything that he's put together this evening in that incredible training.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks so much, baby. And your vast wisdom and sharing was just invaluable. It's incredible. I think I'm going to kill the recording and then ask a couple of questions if that's okay.